Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity. We beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased for the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under the deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your glory and to advance the good of those whose interests are committed to their church.
Amen.
Amen.
Item number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, we wish to welcome you to today's sitting. Today we shall receive additional regional reports on EMYOOGA, and they will be presented in the House. And then we'll have the debate of the whole EMYOOGA tomorrow. By tomorrow, we should have received all the reports. We'll get a report from the minister and then debate and come with a resolution on issues of EMYOOGA program. And as I said before, it is that EMYOOGA program, the debate, the analysis we do, the recommendations is what will form or what will determine how the parish model is going to perform. So members, put all your mind on that project, because we need to make sure government projects or programs work. Colleagues also received a request from members, from a honorable member of elders, that they want to present a report on their own. And I think we shall allow the elders to present on their own as members, and also the disabilities want to make a presentation on their own. Honorable members, as the Right Honorable Speaker said yesterday, that we lost Dr. Alhaji Bulaimu Mwangaki Kibirege, who was a great contributor to the growth of our economy in Uganda. And the family should be here briefly. We are going to have a motion paying tribute to the late Dr. BMK. And yesterday you rose up and had a moment of silence, but today we shall have a motion to that effect. As you may be aware, the Parliament has a baby care and a breastfeeding facility. Of recent, I've seen so many of our members with now we are going to activate, the facility was closed, but because we have very active members and active staff, the facility will be active in the next 2 weeks. We want you to feel free, feel at home while here. The facility will be there. Honorable members, the Minister of Education and Sports has commenced a program to promote sports activities in the communities throughout Uganda. The ministry has donated 8,000 balls to Parliament. 5,000 footballs and 3,000 netballs. That is going to be distributed among the members of Parliament, and the director in charge of parliamentary commissions and the commissioners will make sure that you get those balls for you to take to your constituencies. The Office of the Speaker has also noted the rising number of workshops and seminars which are being organized by some ministries and agencies at the time when Parliament is sitting. We are requesting these ministries to allow Parliament sit. The workshops should only take place on Friday and Saturdays or Mondays, not affecting the parliamentary sittings, because we cannot afford to have members out of Parliament because you have a workshop. Finally, today is International Day of Democracy. This day is celebrated around the world on 15th day of September. And it was set through a resolution of the UN Assembly in 2007, encouraging governments to strengthen and consolidate democracy. Parliament of Uganda in the recent past celebrated the occasion by organizing various activities. However, due to COVID-19 pandemic, it has not been possible for us to do so in this year. Please join me in congratulating Interparliamentary Union and indeed the Parliament of Uganda as we celebrate this day. The support for International Day of Democracy originates from the core beliefs of the Parliament of Uganda and democracy, which is required under Article 1 of the Constitution of Uganda, which emphasizes the sovereignty of the people. The Secretariat of the Interparliamentary Union on this day has arranged an online debate on the following issues. Is democracy in crisis? 2, can democracy rebound and still deliver for the people? I encourage the members to contribute on this debate through the IPU website, which is www.ipu.org, on the Twitter handle on democracy. I wish to thank you on that, and we congratulate ourselves on the day of today. Members, allow me to amend the order paper of today. Members, we've also learned with deep sorrow the death of one of our mothers, a mother to Honorable Asamo Helen, who is the Minister of State for Gender, and the body is still in Kirodu on Mulago. Can we raise for a moment of silence for the late mother?
May her soul rest in eternal peace.
Members, I know we have matters of national importance, but kindly allow me to amend the order paper, and we have the motion paying tribute paying tribute to the late Dr. BMK first, because they've requested they have other functions. They actually have a family meeting. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on your communication regarding the International Day on Democracy, I'm seeking your guidance because when we were taking oath here to be members of Parliament, upholding the Constitution and also democracy were some of the key words or articles. I'm wondering, Madam Speaker, whether you cannot begging you to use Rule 59 of our Rules of Procedure to allow us, even for a very limited time, to speak about democracy. Because there is no way we are going to sit here as members of Parliament on the International Day of Democracy and we receive only your communication, Madam Speaker, and proceed as if we have not been touched by your communication. Madam Speaker, I beg you, because democracy in Uganda is under very serious attack. The beatings, the arresting. These days I see leaders of government going to meet a retired soldier in Gulu, from vice president to prime minister, government parastatals, as if Ugandans never elected leaders. So, Madam Speaker, I want to beg you and invite you to allow us, even for a very limited period, to speak about democracy under Rule 59 of our Rules of Procedure.
Thank you, Honorable Ibrahim. One, I must tell you that the communication is from me. So for you to say that I'm not touched by my own communication, that is the wrong one. That is my own communication. And in the communication, I've also told you that you are free to deliberate on this matter of democracy online. If you want us to have an issue or a debate on democracy, let's organize a day and we talk about democracy and you have it. For now, I have communicated and I've said, as members of Parliament, join the whole world and debate democracy online.
Madam, I'm sorry if I in any way, I did not say you were not touched by your own communication. I said us, because by the time you made it for you, already touched. But I thought this Parliament needs to be touched by your own communication.
Of course, I know you're touched. That's why you have been able to stand.
Yeah,
I would actually be surprised if you never stood. But I like it in a way that you spice the house. Honorable Solomon.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on your communication, first of all, I want to thank you so much for the gesture of promoting sports, because I think it is the first time that the Ministry of Education is coming up to give members of Parliament sports equipment. And I think you have put in a lot of effort. However, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at sports, it is something that is big. We look at volleyball, we look at football, we look at cricket, we look at golf. So next time, Right Honorable Speaker, the ministry should look at supporting members of Parliament with more than just footballs.
Order.
And
Order. Madam Speaker, one of the functions of this parliament is to pass the budget every year. And in the budget that we passed last financial year for the Ministry of Education, there was no item for donation, donating equipment to members of parliament. Is the honorable member, parliamentary commissioner, in order to ask Minister of Education to violate the Appropriations Act by diverting money from other expenditure and use it to give members of parliament equipment? Because even these equipments that the football, for which we are thankful, Madam Speaker, later I will be asking on which vote is it coming? Is it personal from the minister or from the ministry? But the point of order is for my colleague, Commissioner of Parliament, who participated in the passing of the budget, and there was no item for giving MPs. So is he in order, Madam Speaker, to invite this parliament to participate in the violation of the Appropriations Act?
Honorable members, this is a donation. And if somebody has given you, you don't say, give me more. First of all, we must thank the gesture that we have been given. So, as Honorable Semujo has said, we do the appropriation. So now that you've seen that somebody can give, in the next appropriation, you should be able to make a budget where you will include the balls if you need them. Yes, Honorable Atkins.
Thank you very much. Our permission from the speaker.
No, when he puts on a mask, people don't get his English. You remove your mask.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And this is from your communication in regard to the EMYOOGA. A communication from the speaker or the chair is supposed to serve as 3 scopes. Number 1, content specification. Number 2, boundary demarcation. And also number 3, avoidance of pseudo scenario. Why? Because a chair in this house has the last word. Madam Speaker, we've just talked about EMYOOGA, and a lot of us are passionate about that because it touches the existence of our fellow citizens. Madam Speaker, I think we already know how the EMYOOGA money went. Fraud and a scam. Now, Madam Speaker, from your communication, I'm asking you to guide this House and guide the entire country on what specifically is going to happen. We have jails, safe houses, and prisons in this country that are populated with political prisoners. And I'm asking you, Madam Speaker, to ask or to send an invitation to prison authorities that they should depopulate the jails, the safe houses, and the prisons.
Honorable Atkins, how does that affect, how does it come from my communication? The issue of EMYOOGA, you're going to debate when you're presenting the paper. I did not talk about prisons, so take up your seat.
Madam Speaker, this is basically what I'm trying to say. That there is not gonna be any middle ground.
Procedure. Order. Members, let's not smuggle in
Right, Honorable
issues.
Speaker, I respect Honorable Atkins so much, given the quality of English that he speaks in this house, right, Honorable Speaker. But for you to make a ruling, and Honorable Atkins just continues overturning your ruling and still speaking the same very good English, right, Honorable Speaker, is in order.
Honorable Atkins, even when you're Maimuko, you are not in order. Members, I want us to be mindful of time. The family of the late BMK is right up there. We have Haji Haruna Kaluleki Virige, who is a brother to the late BMK. We have Engineer Ngovia Isaac Mubaraka, a brother to the late BMK. We have Hajat Hadija Kibirige Nakayinza. She's a sister to the late BMK. We have Haji Ali Kibirige Mwanga, a son to late Kibirige. That is the Musika. Haji Ali Mwanje. Haji Ali Mwanje is a son to the late Kibirige. That is the famous Ali you always get in China. Please join me in welcoming them. We thank you for coming to watch the proceedings of the House. This is the Parliament of Uganda, the Parliament of the people of Uganda. You're most welcome. Motion.
Motion for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Dr. Alhaji Blaimu Mwanga Chivirige.
Honorable Nsereko, the area member of Parliament of Kampala Central.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. A motion for the resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Dr. Alhaj Blaimu Mwanga Chivirige, moved under Rules 56 and 57C of our Rules of Procedure of this Parliament of Uganda. Whereas the country woke up to the death of the late Alhaj Blaimu Mwanga Chivirige, the founder and chairman of the BMK group of companies, which occurred at Nairobi, Kenya, at Aga Khan Hospital on Friday, the 10th of September, 2021. And whereas the said Dr. Alhaj Blaimu Mwanga Chivirige contributed to the growth of this economy, having started at the age of 14 in his father's restaurant in Masaka, later graduating to a petty trader and a big business mogul in Kampala, in Kenya, in Zambia, and in all other countries of the globe, including in the Far East, as far as Hong Kong, Japan, Thailand, to mention but a few. Aware that on his return from exile in 1986, BMK set up the now famous BMK group of companies, importing spare parts, reconditioned vehicles, motorcycles, which was housed on Ginger Road and the Spring Road for what was to follow. That started the border business import in this country, which grew to a level of assembling and manufacturing of the famous BMK motorcycles, with various branches in Indeba, Katwe, Masaka, and later expanded the empire to the Republic of Kenya, Zambia, Rwanda, and China. further aware that he did not shun competition, but rather encouraged and showed some of us that budding businesses is what was appropriate to do. BMK moved to Japan and China, overcoming the fear of risk and expansion. As a new entrant, he diversified into hotel business, starting the now famous Africana Hotel, which started as a small 50-room business, but later was to grow into a 50 rooms business with apartments alongside, and boasts of a 3,500 seater capacity of a conference of its like, where even Parliament of Uganda has been hosted on different occasions. Noting that unlike other business persons in this country, he shared his trade secrets when he authored the book titled My Story of Building a Fortune in Africa. He was decorated with many honors, such as an honorary doctorate of philosophy in humanities, won the EMYOOGA Helping Hearts Uganda Award, and recognition for many years of exceptional leadership and unconditional commitment towards humanity. He was chairman of the Uganda Uganda North American Association in the year 2000, and was part of the founding body of that organization. Furthermore, he was the founder of the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, which has given birth to very many hotels in this country owned by indigenous Ugandans. He was the founder of the Uganda American Sickle Cell Rescue Fund, member of the Presidential Investor Roundtable. He won recognition for the commitment and dedication towards the successful completion of the Presidential Investors Roundtable 5 in 2015-2017. He was a member of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, won the Investors Year Award in 1997, won recognition for outstanding contribution to the Uganda North American Association years 2004 and 2005. He was decorated with the award of the Rafiki Award for Excellency in the local and international business in London, 2005. The Rotary Club of Kampala East Vocational Award for Distinguished Service to Hospitality in 2005, and Uganda Awards for Excellence for Outstanding Contribution in Business. Appreciating that in his philanthropy, BMK was starkly aware of the needs of the poor and society at large, whereupon he used his generous heart to donate to social causes by paying school fees to many disadvantaged students in this country of all forms, shape, and gender, building mosques and contributing to the construction of churches and community centers, financing the Uganda American Sickle Cell Rescue Fund, building, and this is very important to note, purchase of land that was gazetted as a cemetery in Inkowe in Impigi district for those that could not afford to lay their loved ones at their homes, or those who did not wish to lay their deceased in their ancestral homes. This cemetery alone has given home or has been abode for over 5,000 persons, and this has been a donation from him, from the Muslim community. He further provided space for the offices of the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, now therefore be resolved by this Parliament. 1, that Parliament collectively conveys its deep condolences to the bereaved family, relatives, friends, and people of Uganda at large for the loss of Alhaji Blaimu Muwanga Kibirige. 2, that Parliament takes cognizance of the contribution made to the economy of Uganda by Dr. Alhaj Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige. 3. In honor of the legacy he built and left by the late Dr. Alhaj Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige, that this House collectively urges the minister responsible for Kampala, and in so doing the executive, to rename the now Wampewo Avenue as BMK Avenue within a period of 7 days. 4, that we pray to the Almighty Allah, creator of all creation, most merciful, most gracious, to sustain the bereaved family and grant Dr. Alhaj Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige an eternal rest. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, Alhaji Nsereko Muhammad. Is the motion seconded? The motion seconded. The motion is seconded by the government chief whip, by the Minister of ICT, by Honorable Bahati Atkins, the whole House. Photo. Would you love to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much, honorable members and honorable colleagues, for the overwhelming support for this motion and secondment across aisles. I have no doubt that wherever Dr. Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige is resting, he must be proud of himself, that his name is amongst those few names that have made its way onto the Hansard of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. I have no doubt that his family shall be proud of his achievements, and his children, grandchildren, and even those that he helped will look back and say, we indeed had a great leader, great mentor, and great father. Thank you very much, this august House. Dear honorable colleagues, I'll give you simple synopsis to help us, give us a justification as to why the prayers that I put in our motion should be adopted. The contributions of the late Alhaji Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige, known as BMK to Mene, are enormous. I cannot talk about them alone, but every one of us in this country knows that he was a man of good character and he was a man of all seasons. But we also know that Dr. Ibrahimu Muwanga Kibirige, as an entrepreneur since 1986 and pre-1986, because before he started as a young man, he gave every simple young man through his writings that, listen, you can be there in the country, you can live to grow from the smallest that is despisable to building an empire, not only in Uganda, but outside Uganda and even in Asia. The dream that we can all conquer, the dream that we can all be, the dream that when you believe, you can make it, and that when you don't fear to make mistakes, you can iron them out and become a better person, whether in politics, in business, in trade, in religious affiliations. All round, we deserve to give him that attribute because he's a person you can look up to as young men and women who are trying to move strides forward, awesomely, to believe that when you have firm belief in something, indeed, and you put it in action, you can achieve. As an entrepreneur, he created jobs directly for over 3,000 people in the hotel and tourism sector. For the last 10 years, Uganda's leading foreign income earner has been from tourism. Tourists have come to Uganda basically because we have the following. 1, relative peace. 2, we have warm people, but also 3, that we have facilities. I am very sure that because he was one of these contributors to the construction of the various hotels, and as the founder member of the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, he played and took part in promotion of tourism through training and apprenticeship of different people, recruiting talent, but also providing comfortable accommodation for tourists in this country. And for that, he must be applauded. Honorable colleagues, directly and indirectly, Dr. Ibrahim Mwanga Chibirige contributed to the tax base and consolidated fund of this country. When we calculated the taxes that he had contributed since 1986, they come to billions. They are enormous. Therefore, constructions, whether of schools, roads, and hospitals, at least have a penny of this decent Ugandan, just like all other Ugandans. I tried to look around of which day he defaulted his tax, and I did not find any. Therefore, he was tax compliant. There is no reason as to why you do not join me, honorable members, in justifying the renaming of the Wampeo Avenue in the name of such a Ugandan who has paid taxes, who has been clean, and who has put capital developments in that area. Honorable members, Dr. Ibrahim Mwanga Chibirige was not selfish. He shared his knowledge through different writings. He published, he wrote this book known as My Story of Building a Fortune in Africa. That means the late Dr. Ibrahim Mwanga Chibirige wanted to share part of his story and part of his knowledge with different Ugandans. And indeed, in this writing that I have, Right Honorable Speaker, this is my copy, which he gave me personally. Allow me to lay this copy on table.
Please do.
And also urge honorable members to purchase it and read a story of a humble man rising from deep down there in Masaka to build, with a dream to build an empire in the entire region. BMK did a great contribution to the education of the Republic of Uganda as he introduced a fund to sponsor over 25 children per year, girls and boys that are not from his lineage and from all walks of life and from all tribes and religions. They have been sponsored on his initiative. Therefore, he has contributed in building people's minds, but also providing apprenticeship and skilling Ugandans, providing the much needed human resource from all disciplines, including ICT, education, medicine, pharmacy, to mention but a few. And particularly, he chose those that were not able to pay for themselves, or those that had parents that had passed on, mainly orphans. BMK in the health sector made a tremendous contribution from building human resource by himself, but also as the chairman of the executive board of the Uganda Sickle Cell Rescue Fund. And this is amazing, honorable members. The late Dr. BMK did not have any relative, not even a child, that was suffering from sickle cells. Normally, we are reactive as a result of some challenges that come into our homes. And I'll include myself. When you have challenges, that's when you come to realize that you need to help people. But this is a man who was such generous that even without having anybody suffering from sickle cells, he sponsored over 10,000 people. 10,000 people living with sickle cells, giving them belief that they can live, hosting them for an annual conference, all paid up, and also helping them believe that they also have a future. He was indeed generous and indeed a fighter. His contribution on sickle cells was also boosted by His Excellency Gordon Wavamuno, Alhaji Kaddu Chiveru, Mr. Emmanuel Katongole, Gasta Rure, Alhaji Omar Mandela, Mr. Robert Kabushenga, to mention but a few. He introduced this topic as well to the Buganda Kingdom officials and to the Kabaka himself. And it was unanimously agreed upon that all funds that were raised from the Kabaka's run would be donated to those victims of sickle cell. Isn't he a great man, honorable members? BMK's contribution to climate change is enormous, as he has planted acres and acres of forest cover, not for economic benefit, but for restoration of the environment. BMK's religious affiliation and love for his religion is undoubted. He was strong, but he also respected people that were not of his religion. And indeed, for all of you that went to Hotel Africana, you can bear witness that you are welcomed by people of different color, people of different religions, and you could not know whether this hotel was owned by a Muslim or not. Reason being very clear that he made it comfortable for everyone to live around him. He was not sectarian in nature, not even in the way he conducted his businesses. Yes, he has even opened up a hotel in Karamoja, in Moroto. This is a sign that this gentleman was there not only to develop his people, but also develop the country. But I would like to also note that he did not leave out his family in the management of his businesses. He employed all his relatives and children, but his approach was very simple. He would crack the whip when it was desired. And the approach was also very simple. It was never up to bottom, where his kids would be led to grow from bottom to up. One of them recounts at the vigil, Ali Chivirige, that he employed one of the children and told them that the job I have for you is cleaning the rooms at the hotel. If you cannot do that job, you would rather leave. Hajat Hadija also remarked that BMK was a tough man. As her brother, one time, he sponsored her to go and do her master's degree. On return, he told her to go back and do a PhD. Remember, this was a primary dropout, but encouraging people to read hard. When she hesitated, he told her, "You're fired." And that was a message to the sister. And she had to oblige in one way or another, and she's pursuing her doctorate in philosophy in honor of BMK. He was a great contributor to music, art, and talent. You've seen very many shows that have been launched at the Hotel Africana. I'm sure most of you have attended these shows, and they have been granted to these musicians at subsidized prices because he wanted to promote them, promote talent, and harness the best out of Uganda. Just like one musician, Mr. Semakula, remarks that he encouraged him to compose a song that was unifying to people of all religions, praising the Lord. And he came up with the song, Kankutendereze Sebo, which all of you can have access to. BMK is an epitome of patience, honorable members. 5 years ago, he was given only 2 years to live as a cancer patient. And the doctors told him that he only had 2 years to go. He rejected that. He recollected himself and even dared to write a book about, which is in the offing, how to fight cancer. Honorable members, it's not easy for anyone to come out here and Ugandans at large and be told that you'll only live for 2 years by doctors. Many people either run mad, others get mental health problems, but he remained strong, for he knew that Almighty Allah was the only one who had his calendar. BMK, during these 4 years of pain, was flown out here and there at a very high cost of over $750,000 plus for this treatment. Contributions came from friends and family, but he was always strong and he did not bow down to this reckless disease. Even many naysayers came out on internet to state that he had died at times. But he used to come out strongly and say, I forgive you. But do
Honorable,
not
can you
use blackmail
summarize?
around me.
Everybody wants to talk.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, the late BMK, as I wind up, lost within these 4 years, lost the mother just 3 months ago, and he buried the mother. He was carried from the sick bed and he buried the late mom. In the same period of 6 months, he lost a daughter, but he did not waver. He remained strong. Just like Job and just like Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him. Finally, as I conclude, I can describe BMK as courageous, humble, simple, generous, visionary, equitable, warm-hearted, polite, and finally Pan-Africanist. Honorable members, with those few justifications, I would like to persuade this House to join me in the prayers that I have sought, that we pay tribute, recognize his contribution, and also rename the Wampeo Avenue and change it, persuade the Minister for Kampala or enjoin on her as Parliament to get council to change the name immediately from Wampeo Avenue to BMK. Wampeo was for the Impalas, but now we have Ibrahimu Mwanga Chibirige Avenue. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, and thank you, honorable members.
Honorable Taeba, Government Chief Whip, Seconder.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I want first take this opportunity to thank my colleague, the Honorable Nsereko Muhammad, for moving this motion, which has unanimous support from all sides. Right Honorable Speaker, when your deeds speak for themselves, then words don't mean a lot. With BMK, whatever we say here, it will comfort the family, but his deeds, which have touched many, Right Honorable Speaker, will always change and impact on most of us who came to know him. Right Honorable Speaker, and indeed, like you told us earlier, that today is Democracy Day, very important day to celebrate the life of a giant who has benefited from the democracy ushered in by the NRM. And a very important day, Right Honorable Speaker, if you could allow me also to inform colleagues that this day of democracy coincides with the birthday of our president, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni. Happy birthday, our president. Right Honorable Speaker, there is no one who
Order.
could have
Order, Madam Speaker.
I don't know what's wrong with someone's birthday.
Honorable,
Being
you
Madam
sit down.
Speaker.
Sit down, sit down.
Madam Speaker, the president is on record. He said he doesn't know when he was born. Even when you read his book, The Mustard Seed, it is only most recent that he said his children attached a day for him to be able to celebrate. But he said himself, he doesn't know when he was born. Maybe the government chief whip was still young. So is the honorable government whip in order to lie to Parliament that today is the birthday of His Excellency the President, who personally said he doesn't know when he was born.
By the way, I also want to extend my birthday wishes to the president. Today is the president's birthday. Happy birthday, President Museveni.
Right Honorable Speaker, no person could mourn the late BMK better than our president, who said this from Karamoja after learning about the death of this great entrepreneur. He said, the country has lost a great entrepreneur and innovative business leader who profitably took advantage of Uganda's vast business opportunities to create jobs and incomes for our people. He added on that persistence and dedication to correct principles yielded positive results in the long run for BMK. And this is what was very different on the late BMK. He did business with Echibaro, what the president also calls Chura. That's with the calculation. Most of us, we just move. I met the son Haji in Guangzhou, China, where the family also helped has helped very many Ugandans, especially you could go to China, you're surrounded by Nigerians, but immediately BMK, after seeing that, put in place a mechanism of ensuring the Ugandans who would want to do business in China are helped. That's a business with the calculation. Right, Honorable Speaker, the virtues of honesty, the virtues of being principled, and the virtues of knowing. In fact, one of the biggest writings in BMK's book, he said, never eat the capital. Money belongs to the business, not the business owner. Most of us Africans and Ugandans at large, one of the biggest problems we have, we start by eating and then we save the balance. People like BMK have managed to build what they built because they could first save and then eat after saving. But for us, even a loan, someone goes to a bank after getting a loan, he first enjoys and then he goes to invest. You marry a second wife, then you go to invest. I think this is what we need to learn from BMK, that we should remain focused. If money belongs to a business, it's money for a business. If money belongs to a certain community, it's money for a community. So it's very important, right, Honorable, for some of us who are learning from him, that indeed a saving culture is needed in this country. And that rhymes very well with the message of the NRM around EMYOOGA, around even this parish model, where we must build the saving culture to fulfill the rigors of people like BMK. Right, Honorable Speaker, the late BMK, whom my friend Nsereko has eulogized very well here, he preached and practiced unity. He built the Masjid Musa Mosque at Hotel Africana in memory of his son Musa, who passed away. But he was not limited by his love for Islam. He went ahead in Namiryango, Gomba, where he built a Catholic church in memory of his auntie who brought him up. Where you find one of us, we are looking at each other as if when you don't practice my religion, then you're not the right person. BMK was even going to build shelter for those other religions to ensure they can practice their religion very well. His belief was very simple, right, Honorable Speaker, that if you're a Muslim, be a good Muslim. If you're a Catholic, be a good Catholic. If you're Anglican, be a good Anglican. If not, if you're a pagan, be a very bad pagan, so that you know how bad it is to be a pagan, and then you change. Right, Honorable Speaker, as government, we support this motion, and like Honorable Nsereko has prayed, we support the fact that the right procedure should be followed, so that indeed something very memorable, like Wampeo Avenue, can be renamed after the late Hajj BMK. I beg to submit, right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Government Chief Whip. Actually, what we are doing, we are following the right procedure. When you look at the KCCA Act, Section 3(2), KCCA is under the central government, and the central government is under us. So whatever we are doing it according to the law. And also when you look at Article 5(4) of the Constitution, it mandates us to be in charge of the central government. So whatever we are doing it according to the law, and we have the powers, and nobody out there should imagine that we don't have the powers. The powers are in this house. Honorable Mawanda. Honorable Mawanda is the second seconder. Mawanda. Members, we limit time so that we are able to have a number talk.
Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I rise to support the motion paying tribute to the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige, popularly known as BMK. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the story of the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige is a story of an illustrious Ugandan entrepreneur who rose from a petty trader to owning a number of businesses in Uganda and abroad. The story of the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige is a story of a hard-working man who persevered, was honest and diligent. The late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige espouses all the qualities of a good leader, including integrity, accountability, empathy, humility, resilience, vision, influence, and positivity. The late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige did not allow his humble background to define him. He established the BMK group of companies dealing in hotel business, importation of spare parts, reconditioned cars and motorcycles, manufacturing of plastics, real estate, including commercial and residential properties, farming, and education. He was a visionary leader who established businesses in other parts of the world, as already said, in Zambia, Thailand, and Hong Kong. Through those business undertakings, he provided jobs for Ugandans, contributed to the economic development of Uganda through the payment of taxes and importation and import substitution. The late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige undertook a number of projects for the benefit of the poor through provision of school fees, construction of schools, health facilities, and also contributed to the building of churches, mosques, as well as other religious projects. On a personal note, right Honorable Speaker and members, I first met the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige in Zambia in 1996, where he had established businesses. He was a generous man who wanted others to succeed in business and did not hesitate to lend a hand in the business success of other people. Indeed, when I met him in Zambia, he offered to accompany me to South Africa, Namibia, Angola, and then back to Zambia. I was pursuing the mobile telephone second national operator in Angola and Zambia. From then till his death, he remained a friend, and he has on very many occasions offered counsel to me in my business undertakings. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I pray that Ugandans emulate the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige, who rose from obscurity Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I pray that Ugandans emulate the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige, who rose from obscurity to international fame by working hard and being honest and helping others. I therefore extend my personal and heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Ibrahim Mwanga Chivirige, especially his wife and children, and pray that Allah rest the soul of the deceased in eternal peace. Madam Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Mawanda. Dr. Chris, let's have 3 minutes each, and Dr. Chris.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also rise to thank the Honorable Sereko Muhammad for moving the motion, and I rise to support the motion and also persuade the House to pass the prayers as presented. First of all, Right Honorable Speaker, we convey our condolences to the family and all Ugandans because BMK is a household name in the country, and we all feel touched by his demise. I want to concur with you that Parliament has the powers and authority to consider this motion and pass the prayers. I have heard the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Capital City Authority, complaining, but this is a matter which should not raise any complaints. But Parliament has authority in accordance with the Constitution and the other attendant legislations. There are many lessons which we pick from the life of BMK, and if we were to list all of them, we'd probably sleep in this house. But let me pick one or two in the interest of time. I was just scanning through his book, somebody who drops out of school in P7 and rises to a stature which we all know. What this one teaches us is that what we need is opportunity, is space for us to exercise our talents and put our skills to work. And therefore, every Ugandan or anybody who is born alive and grows can prosper depending on the environment and the opportunity provided to you. And did like the government chief whip earlier commented, we salute the environment in Uganda that can enable people like BMK to rise to greatness in the area of business and many other areas. And therefore, this is a very great lesson for our young people and for all of us in this country. We thank BMK for his big heart, because most often you find people who prosper, but then they either narrowly at different interests, but this is a person who helped many people, irrespective of your faith, irrespective of where you come from, whether he knew you or not. And he has also passed on this spirit among the family members, the children. Like you said, those who travel to Guangzhou, you know how members of his family, especially Haj Ali, helps Ugandans to do business and also make connections. I would like to appeal to the members of the family who are here to protect the legacy of BMK and also protect the business enterprises which he had set up. Most often, Africans especially start businesses and they don't involve their families. And when they die with their business empires. But BMK, to a great extent, brought in the family, and I'm sure whatever business enterprises he started, the family should be able to continue this business.
Thank you.
Let's speak the issue of cancer, that we have a great challenge, that cancer is on the rise. And maybe at some point we should find some time as Parliament and get a report from Minister of Health, and we discuss this challenge of cancer, which is on the rise, not only in Uganda, but in the African environment. And we see what kind of solutions we can continue to propose to work with the government and other agencies to address this issue. I thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Honorable Chris. Maybe to allay the fears of the Lord Mayor, when you look at the Constitution, Article 5.4, It says Kampala, located in Buganda, shall be the capital city for Uganda and shall be administered by the central government. Then 5.6, Parliament shall, by law, make provisions for the administration and development of Kampala city as the KCCA. Then when you look at Section 3 of the KCCA Act, it's very clear that Kampala city is under the central government. So the power lies on the Parliament of Uganda. Honorable Bahati.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. First, I want to extend my condolences to the family of our friend, our brother, BMK. On behalf of the people of Dogwa West and the people of Kabale, please accept our condolences. A second point, Madam Speaker, on the issue of the death of our brother BMK, is that the story of BMK is part of the story of the private sector development in this country. Out of the GDP of 40 billion now, US dollars, which is equivalent of 150 trillion, government, which is the treasury, only appropriates 40 trillion, meaning that 110 trillion is actually contributed by the private sector. And out of that, only 10% is actually contributed by our indigenous businesses. BMK was part of that contribution. And I think we need to appreciate his contribution as an indigenous businessman. The second, the story of BMK says to us and to many millions Ugandans that your background does not determine your destiny. Whatever circumstances you go through, when you are determined with God's grace, you can succeed in whatever situation. That is the story of BMK. Madam Speaker, BMK was a generous man. For example, I can disclose here that before the COVID, we used to organize the National Prayer Breakfast every 8th of October. BMK offered Parliament to use that hall for free as part of his contribution. So we want to appreciate him. We want to thank him and celebrate his life and wish him the very best, rather the best of luck to his family, and may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Honorable Kasolo. I was going to call you EMYOOGA, but Kasolo. Honorable Kasolo, Rob Arona.
Thank you very much, Honorable. And it is true, my name is synonymous with EMYOOGA. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, in the first place, allow me to register my heartfelt condolences to the people, to the family of the late BMK, people of Uganda, and Africa at large. And Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank you very much for allowing the motion mover, Honorable Nsereko, space on the order paper to move this motion, because it does not only comfort the family, the bereaved family, but it also energizes the business community, the local investors, that we appreciate as government whatever they do to develop this country. Right Honorable Speaker, a lot has been said by the motion mover, but I must emphasize the red BMK was a nationalist because he did whatever he could to make serious contribution in terms of taxes to the development of the economy of Uganda. Number two, after His Excellency the President stabilizing security in northern Uganda, the late BMK took it upon himself to ensure regional economic and social balance. So he went and put a heavy investment in Moroto. Many Ugandans would love to invest in Kampala, the heart of Uganda, but this gentleman really went as far as Moroto and put a heavy investment and employed the Ugandans in that area. Right Honorable Speaker, Haj BMK was a secure investor. He could share whatever knowledge he had with all Ugandans that would approach him, irrespective of whether they were into the same business, but he could really advise. Unlike some of Ugandans that really want to be monopolies, Ugandans are going to miss Haj BMK. Honorable Speaker, the government chief whip has really emphasized the issue of saving. Honorable Nsereko has taken us through the ladders that let BMK climbed. You see, it does not necessarily mean that you must have a lot of capital in order for you to progressively invest in business. You must ensure that you embrace saving culture. Honorable colleagues, I would love all of us to save some money and invest so that we can make serious contribution towards the development of the economy. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, we want to speak about where people have come from when they are still alive. Even members of parliament here, we have come from far. If you can share with Honorable Bahat here, how he came up, you see, from vending sweets on the Cavalry Street to now minister in charge of corporate, in charge of industry, to write books so that Ugandans can really be encouraged, because it is not enough to see you enjoying when really people can never know, can never trace where you came from. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to stop here, and I'm sure that the late BMK is now with God. Is now with God, and we must pray that may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Honorable Haruna. On that note, the books for BMK that can help us know where he was coming from and where he ended there, you can acquire one. It would maybe help you. Public service. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm Grace Mary, Mrs. Mugasa, Minister of State, Public Service. I rise to support the motion, but I want to emphasize that the road called Wampeo Avenue should be renamed to Dr. Hajj BMK, because this man broke the glass cylinder from primary 7 to doctorate. He broke the glass ceiling from primary 7 to doctorate. It is an award of actions. I therefore beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you. Faith? Faith?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am Nakut Faith, the district.
Members, 2 minutes.
The district woman representative for Napak. I support the motion to honor the late Dr. Alhaji Ibrahim Mwanga Chibirige, a man who loved humanity. When identifying where to put his investment, he chose to invest in Karamoja, even when the return of investment was not guaranteed. So he invested the bigger part of his investment there to put up Hotel Africana in Moroto. Very few businessmen can take a risk of that kind. So he saw our potential as a region when other people could not see it. He saw our potential and he put in his money there on the hope that it would yield. Unfortunately, he has died before getting that return. I pray that the family will get, that God will make sure that business progresses so that the family gets a return on investment for believing in us as a region. As if that wasn't enough, he sponsored a number of children in his wood. He gave them an education. Those who wouldn't otherwise have access to education, he gave them an education. When the news came that he had passed on, the people in Moroto and in many parts of Karamoja set up fire camps. That's our method of mourning a person we love so dearly. So we miss him too much because there are very few people in Uganda of his kind who look beyond profitability and also invest in humanity. You invest in the hope that there is something of value that will come from these people also. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Faith. Of course, youth. Youth.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also rise as a proponent of the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I've been privileged to read 2 very important writings of Dr. Alhaji BMK. One is the book that has been laid on the table, which is My Story of Building a Fortune in Africa. One very important thing that as a young person I've learned from his book is the virtue of resilience. Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. BMK shares a story of his maiden business trip to Japan via Hong Kong, and he lost a bag that had $52,000 in 1982. That was approximately 190 million Uganda shillings currently. The story of how a person is able to pick up even after losing everything that he went with is one that most of our people need to learn from. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to commend the late Dr. BMK for availing many employment opportunities to the young people of this country, especially the region that I represent, which is Karamoja. The Hotel Africana in Moroto provides many opportunities for our young people. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, Lillian. Lillian.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Lillian Abe, the woman MP of Kidgum District. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise up to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, the statesman we are talking about has had impact on the people of Kitgum. Right Honorable Speaker, when I was still the chairperson of the Youth Council, I met a young person who had been given a scholarship to go and study in Canada. And this young man didn't have any hope. Somehow, we thought about going to Mr. BMK because we were told he likes helping people. We went and met him at Hotel Africana. He did not hesitate. These were his statements. I will support you, go study, but make sure you come back to the country and invest here. Today, as we speak, this young man is a doctor. Secondly, there's a white woman who left Australia called Irene Gleason, late Irene Gleason. This lady sold everything she had, came and settled in Kitgum district during the wartime to help the people. May her soul rest in eternal peace. She also passed on cancer. And every year we organize what we call charity walk to fundraise to support the initiative she had started. Mr. BMK every year contributes to the charity walk in support of the children the Irene Gleason Foundation is taking care of. The testimonies are many. If I may conclude with another testimony. Mr. BMK, again, when I was in the Youth Council, a lady came to my office with a sickle cell young daughter. I first went to Honorable Joyce Bagara. She referred me again to Mr. BMK. When I went to him, he picked a phone, called abroad in US. This child is being taken care of by a foundation in US. We have lost a statesman. We have lost a good man. And I want to urge Ugandans that when we are still living on this planet, those whom God has blessed with money, sow a seed to support Ugandans. Sow a seed to support humanity. Then we will remember you the way we are remembering you here today. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We are seated here to pay tribute because of your initiative, Madam Speaker. I remember when during the burial of the late BMK, you said, if I quote you correctly, that will make sure BMK is honored for the contribution he has made to this country. So I thank you so much for this initiative. I also want to thank Honorable Nsereko for bringing this motion, which I want to support. Madam Speaker, BMK cut his teeth in Japan. He went there quite early. I knew this because I served as ambassador of Uganda to Japan. And there are many Ugandans who go there to find fortune, to try their luck. And he was one of the early ones. Now, Japan is a country of great savings. Japan is a country of enterprise, of new technologies, new ventures. This man we're honoring today went there to learn, to save, and today we're honoring him because of what he has learned in Japan. Furthermore, he also taught, guided his fellow Ugandans in Japan. Madam Speaker, if you go to Ndeba today, up to Natete, all those developments there are of Ugandans who ventured into Japan and brought their savings to invest in this country. So it is right and proper that this man is honored and a befitting road is named after him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Komakech Christopher, Member of Parliament, Arrow County. I would love to thank the mover of the motion, Honorable Nsereko. The late BMK did not physically help anyone in Pade, but if there is anything to go by mentally, he attested to the dream of our founding fathers of this country, to build from a primary level to the status where he reached. It's a dream that is almost unattainable. The youth and the young ones learn from him. And I know he did this because the founding fathers and the great leaders of this nation have put a medium anyone can rise in this country. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, it's the quality of his products. The late BMK is one gentleman who first imported in motorbikes known as the Jaguar, now replaced by Bajaj. The Jaguar was the only motorbike that was known by then to carry almost 5 bags of flour and other commodities. Up to now, if you are to buy second-hand parts, for us to buy second-hand parts, the mechanics will tell you, go and buy from BMK. Meaning he was a man who was never corrupted. His products were always to standard. And this is something that shows to this country that you do not have to be corruptible to get to the wealth of the nation. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I beg that this 11th Parliament makes a change. Why don't we always recognize such great personalities when they are still alive? I believe that if he was still breathing and we called him into this Parliament and showered him with the praises that we are sharing right now, he would really appreciate it. I thank you very much. I beg to second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
After that, we have Christine John, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My name is Atima Jackson Lee Buti, representing Central Division, Arua City. I rise to support the motion raised by Honorable Nsereko. As a hotelier from West Nile and Arua City, as an entrepreneur, as a legislator from Central Division, Arua City, I stand to pay tribute to the late BMK for the wonderful things he has done in this country. He has really been a nationalist. He has been a patriot. When Honorable Nsereko elaborated on the achievements, I said I can't sit down and fail to say we pay tribute together. I have personally benefited from attending workshops in Hotel Africana. As I talk now, the late BMK didn't only go to Karamoja and other parts of this country. As I talk now, when you enter Arua City, you will see a well-leveled ground with containers and equipments written Hotel Africana. That means he recognizes the country. He recognizes the country as his own and he wishes to develop across the country.
Christine.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm Christine Apollo, Woman MP Kumi. I rise to second the motion in recognition of the contribution made by the late BMK. A very great lesson learned from him, a man from the grassroots. Right Honorable Speaker, when I was a district council, I had an opportunity to have an engagement in Hotel Africana. But when I entered and saw how it was developed, I thought it was a government enterprise. Some of you may laugh, but it was the reality. Because I couldn't imagine a person doing such. But out of interaction, I learned that it was an individual. Above all, Madam Speaker, I met a number of people from Teso working in that Hotel Africana. A lesson that we must learn, that tribalism must be fought in the country. He accommodated all people from sub-regions that we have in this country. Madam Speaker, we have also learned that entrepreneurial skills are very key amongst Ugandans. He wasn't that an academician, but he was able to practice the little knowledge that he learned. A great man who must be remembered in this country. So many of us who get PhDs, master's degrees, we think that that is the best, but we must learn something from this gentleman. May the Almighty Allah rest his soul in peace. I thank you.
John, Commissioner.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. And for the record, I'm Musila John, Ubulo East. And I want to condole as well with the family of late Dr. Kibirige. It is not easy for people to know that either a role model or a mentor can have influence. Madam Speaker, I'm one of those who has benefited from this family, and especially the late Kibirige. When he opened the shop in Mbale of the spares sometime in the late 80s and the early 90s, at the time when I was a student, and of course doing business, first he inspired me, but secondly at the time, and I want to say this as a testimony to this house, as a retired smuggler, I benefited. That shop became a hub of my business, transporter business in Kenya, carrying all these spares to Eldoret and Nairobi. And here I am today talking. It is good for me to lay all these testimonies
Members order.
So that people know that some of us have come from that far background. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the Rule 17 reads, and I want to read one, subject to these rules, the House shall meet on such days and such places as the Speaker shall determine. Madam Speaker, it comes to you. In memory and tribute of this great icon.
Honorable Solomon.
Madam Speaker, I wish I finish just one.
Solomon.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to join the House to support the motion of Honorable Nsereko. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to also thank you because I've seen whenever we have trouble in this country of someone dying, you are one of the first senior citizens to go there, Right Honorable Speaker. The burial of BMK, Right Honorable Speaker, I saw you dressed like a full Muslim woman. I appreciated that so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I first met BMK personally with the Honorable Kasule Lumumba, the then government chief whip. That time we had issues in Busoga of inadequate mosques, children who wanted to go to school. And then the government chief whip then, Kasule Justin Lumumba, introduced me to BMK. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to testify before this House that BMK supported the people of Busoga, especially the Muslim community. Children went to school out of his support. Mosques were built out of his support. He was a statesman. He was a person who had a heart that supported someone in need. And he did this wholeheartedly. And I want to implore all the other Ugandans and all of us, members of parliament, business community, and everybody, when you have the chance of helping, please help. This seed, I beg to submit.
Julius.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. For the record, my name is Julius Achon, Olympian, representing people of Botuka East. Madam Speaker, I would like to pay a tribute or to make a congratulatory message for the late. I knew him in 1992 when I came from my village in Lira. He met me running on the golf course where is located, where Africana Hotel is. The first approach, he saw me running. And then he asked if I would come and do a gym work. I didn't know what the gym was. When I reached at the training room, I saw the gym's material looks like those hoes we use it for planting crops in the village. From there, when I began lifting the gym, that's what made me a thing. I won the World Junior Championship for gold medal for Uganda in 1994. My legs and the arms were strong like a crocodile bites. In 1996, the Olympic teams who represented the country, they were lifting gym free from this same man. So honorable members, I urge you, when you have money or when we have money, let us be humble. Let us learn how to use it right. If you hold the money too tight like a goalkeeper with a ball, you will never succeed in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Muhanga.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support the motion raised by the Honorable Muhammad Nsereko to pay tribute to BMK, Blaim Mwanga Chivirige. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a consanguineal relationship with the Honorable Mwanga Chivirige through marriage. My nephews, one of them married to the Honorable Betty Naluima, MP Wakiso District, is a sister to BMK's first wife. And so we've been together for many years through this journey. And he's been into our family for a long time. The time I remember very well is when my nephews were getting married. And when he appeared, everybody wanted to sit him in front, and he sat at the back. We said, but you're an important person in the family. He said, no, please. I'm just a member like any of you. At one point, my mother was very sick and went to Germany in 2019, April, to remember very well. He had already started traveling around the world seeking treatment for cancer. We had already known as a family that he had cancer. So when we met him in Germany, there was another old Ugandan lady, very sick. BMK came to the hospital. St. Augustine, I remember very well. He knelt down to greet this old lady. I looked at a very rich man, a very humble person. I cannot really understand. He was a man with a meek and very composed demeanor. You really couldn't understand him if you didn't know him. You wouldn't tell that this is the man who built an empire in Uganda. He looked so normal. But what impressed me most at the last days of his life, he involved all his children in his businesses. He told them what to do after he's long gone. And on the day of his burial, where the Honorable Betty Naluima represented the family, I attended throughout Zoom, and I saw you, the Right Honorable Speaker, at the place. I saw how the children eulogized him and spoke about how they are going to keep that empire. I was really impressed that they know each and everything, every connection he had out of Uganda. And I'm glad they will take this
to another level. And I want to appeal to you members that it pays a lot, I think, to be humble. This man has earned a name, and may God continue blessing his soul in eternal peace.
Thank you, thank you. I said humility is very important. Dr. Batua.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, I am aware of Wampewa Avenue, a very prime area, full of business properties, and I do know the inconveniences and the expenditure that comes with changing a name of the road. You know, correspondences, letterheads are all written in the name of Wampewa Avenue, including land titles. But, Right Honorable Speaker, given the knowledge we've had about BMK, he deserves to be named after Wampewa Avenue over and above the inconveniences and the costs that will be associated with the change. Last but not least, we should not hide from the shame, most especially from the side seated on your right, Right Honorable Speaker. A man who has been paying tax, who has taken care of sickle cells much as he doesn't have a sickler in his family. For him to have cancer and move to Nairobi, yet the basis of tax is for government to provide service. Right Honorable Speaker, at a day like this, decisions should be made after reflecting on that. We should examine the Cancer Institute and know what exactly is missing such that Parliament works towards putting that right. I do not know of any other big person that should die to bring down the people seated on your right, the government, the executive, to bring them down to think on how to improve some of these services. For long, the Cancer Institute ran without a radiology. Well, that was in the 10th Parliament. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I seek your leave to proceed through Rule 59, Sub-Rule 1, Sub-Rule K, to move a motion without notice that the Ministry of Health gives us the status of the Cancer Institute so that we know what it can be able to handle and what it can't handle. We should be treating Ugandans from Uganda. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Batua, Dr. Batua. And one thing I want to assure you is the Cancer Institute in Uganda is working. Dr. BMK did not go to Nairobi because there was no hospital in Uganda. If money could save a person, if you're there to listen to what was said at the funeral, how doctor went to all the best hospitals, if money could save, then Dr. BMK wouldn't have died. It's not about not having a hospital here. Cancer is cancer. And it's not time for a blame game. We have a hospital, we have a cancer institute, and doctor tried all his best and went to all the best hospitals. He even went on the net and searched for the best cancer hospital. And it was in which country? And in Germany, and he got the treatment, but it could not help. It was not anything about money. He had the money. Atkins, Chivumbi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My deepest condolences to about 4 groupings. 1 to Ugandans, 2 to the family, 3 to the Kingdom of Uganda and the Karaka in particular, and then 4 to their Islamic brothers and sisters. Madam Speaker, I'm quite saddened that there are a lot of Dr. BMKs. They have the will, the zeal, the commitment, the resolve, and the determination. But we as Parliament are not doing enough to help them make it to the top. Madam Speaker, I'm asking you, and particularly the leadership of this Parliament, to give and provide all the help that this family that is in the moment of grief, all they need to carry forward the legacy of their father. I think I would be one of those that would be saddened if I see a downscale of the progress. Madam Speaker, in addition to the motion, I think we should add an impress and interest government to give all the support that this family needs to carry forward the legacy. Very lastly, Madam Speaker, like it happens everywhere or elsewhere, especially in the developed world, we could impress it upon Makerere University to put up an endowment program or a BMK scholars, and they could be housed like in the school or college of business, so that we have scholars that will be coming out of a university, but with the name of BMK. My deepest condolences, and may you and your legacy live forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chivombe.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to thank you in particular because late in the night, I was at BMK's house, seated somewhere, and you came along very late in the night. That was fairly humbling. Right Honorable Speaker, the death of BMK caps a chapter very difficult for many reasons, and I will be particular to the Muslim community. We've lost quite a number of eminent Muslims in this country. I don't speak as a Muslim in this parliament, but we lost Haji Katongole, Dr. Anas Kalisa, we lost eminent sheikhs, Muzata, so many. It has been a difficult time for that community, those of us who closely work with it. But the death of BMK hit us quite hard. And for many reasons, Honorable Nsereka and others who are here, and Honorable Kasol, across the board, and Hajat, you know how far in this country it has been to come, how far the Muslim community has come from this country, from colonial days. It has been a difficult journey. Now, for BMK to rise to this level, it was very difficult to break and reach the ceiling. So we celebrate a life and an achievement of a humble person. But Honorable Speaker, I also want to draw this country to a very big thing. We roll over red carpet for foreign investors and fall over them and give them all kinds of incentives. But let us know out in our villages, they are really a talent this country can tap and develop Uganda. We give so much to foreign investors and we give them a lot of things. We forget that in our villages, a humble young man who stopped in primary 3 can raise to the level of BMK. So how many BMKs can we help if they were given the incentive that we give foreigners? Right Honorable Speaker, it is even in the education sector, today it's becoming an exclusive club of the rich, of the well-connected.
Had it been that way, we never even had President Museveni. He was the son of the poorest of the poor. So can we now look forward as we celebrate the life of BMK, introspect and see what we can best do as a country to help so many other humble people who have a talent. And there are so many who can make it in life. Right Honorable Speaker, as I end my tribute, we also have, let me speak briefly as the chairman of the Uganda caucus. BMK has lived true as an African. There are so many rich and educated people who deny their tribal and ethnic belonging. He remained loyal to the king. Me a minute as the chairperson of the Uganda caucus. Right Honorable Speaker, there are so many people in this country. Once they reach levels of eminence, they forget where they come from. All of a sudden, they want to portray them as if they came from Alaska. But BMK truly belonged to Uganda and epitomized the Ugandan culture. Let us be true. You cannot be an African without a tribe. You cannot be an African without where you come from. So let us be true who we are as we remember BMK. I beg to move right on.
Thank you, Mujiche. Mujiche.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for allowing this motion, which was just and fitting. Madam Speaker, the death of a successful man like this and a very rich businessman reminds us that despite our riches, despite the authority we have, vanity is vanity. And therefore, we don't have to be very proud. We don't have to oppress others. We don't have to shout others down. After all, at the end of the day, the journey is the same. But two, that success and hard work leads, that determination and hard work leads to success. You did not have to steal to be successful. No, I was with the Honorable Kasoro at a meeting in Zambia some time back, and we were told how Hotel Africana was doing very well in Zambia. Very well. We had gone for a pension scheme training and meeting. This man has succeeded almost everywhere, but you don't trace any record of corruption or stealing like some other people want to do. So I want to salute him. I want to salute all the businessmen who have succeeded without stealing. And if all of us could do that, because now we know that at the end of the day, there's nothing impossible under the sun, that if you work very hard, you're...
Joel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I join colleagues to commiserate with the family of the late Dr. BMK. Nelson Mandela once said that it always seems impossible until it's done. And that's been the life of Dr. BMK. He has exuded that from a very humble background, and here we are celebrating him. So it's a source of encouragement. I just want to focus on one thing, and the Chief Whip, the government Chief Whip has left. He mentioned something that tickled me. He said one of the things to learn from the late Dr. BMK was his sound financial principles. And he talked about how he would acquire a loan and make good use of it. I actually hope we can practically learn these things as opposed to just talking about them, that we are learning and yet we are not learning, because I thought about our debt to GDP ratio as a country. And then I thought about the many non-performing loans we have as a country, that we shall borrow money and then plan later to use that money. So it will remain idle for a year or two. We are paying interest meanwhile, but the money is lying idle. So let's be serious when we say we are learning from great men like Dr. BMK, and we actually apply those principles here. Otherwise, it's not enough for us to say these things, get everybody excited, and then say we have learned from him, and yet we have learned zilch. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Nsereko, for bringing up this motion. For record, Kaya Christine Nachimoyero, Chiboga District Woman MP. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to commend the contribution late BMK gave to civil society organizations, despite the shrinking space. Very many proprietors, when they host big conferences, they started raising low-income or low-paying conferences. They begin putting criteria that discriminate the poor from accessing such hotels, like no entering with the camera, no entering with telephones. But with BMK, we saw low-income conferences, middle-income, and high-income conferences, and civil society could host exhibitions of small-scale farmers at Africana. So we saw the elevation of civil society and their space in that. Right Honorable Speaker, there was a request to name the late after Wampeo Avenue. Me, I don't buy into naming him after this old road. There are very many upcoming new roads. These roads may even have poor historical backgrounds. Let's get a newly constructed road. There are very many that are upcoming in the city, and we name it after the late. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Honorable. The essence of Wampeo is where BMK house is. BMK Africana Hotel is also in that area. So if you want to know anything about BMK, it is in that street. So maybe we can have road number 2.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As the Shadow Minister for Arts and Culture, permit me to thank the late for the uplifting of the art industry. Initially, we used to organize shows in local places, bars, mention it. But when we approached the late BMK, we were like, we want to tap on the corporate world. BMK never resisted. He gave us Africana, and Africana is one of the venues where one of the fastest corporate event was organized. And from then, we began tapping on the corporate world that never used to come to our bikaris that we used to be in. Right Honorable Speaker, we have many BMKs. As we celebrate the life of BMK, comrades, I know you remember very well Sembule Steel Mills or Sembule Group of Companies. As we celebrate BMK, there are many BMKs rotting. And I think we would interest ourselves in knowing the whereabouts of the Sembules. Sembule was a very big company that we used to come from wherever primary schools to come and pay a visit to see how companies operate. Sembule at one time wanted the government to borrow it 7 billion. This company collapsed because the government could not borrow, not give it, but borrow Sembule, an indigenous company. So I beg to move.
Semoju, Elijah, yes, Solo. Members, we've had a good debate on this issue. We appreciate you all loved BMK. We appreciate you all have what to say. Solo.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I feel humbled to be here. We're in the house.
I thought Madam Speaker, you had said Semuju.
No, you said Solo.
I said Solo Semuju.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. For record, I'm Geoffrey Kayemba Solo from Bokoma Simbi South. I feel humbled this house to be celebrating the son of Greater Masaka, the son of Voodoo, who came to Kampala and expanded the wings to the world. My proposal is, as people of Masaka, we have a road from Chavakuza to Matete, which passes via Bokoma Simbi. Good enough, Mr. Muhammad Nsereko comes from the same place. As a contribution and a sign of honor to the people of Greater Masaka, who produced that child, the government, I request the government to tarmac that road. Whenever we pass on it, we will say now the government was happy because of BMK who came from Greater Masaka. I beg to submit.
Honorable Semuju. Let's first name the road and then works will do its work.
I want to thank you, Madam Speaker. And on behalf of the people of Kira municipality, extend our condolence to the family of late BMK. Madam Speaker, I'll make 3 brief points. I was pleased recently when Makerere University invited late Dr. Mulwana, which I bestowed him professorship, and Wavamuno to begin teaching in their business college. I hope that's how it is called. In America, successful businessmen are invited to speak to university. Wealth is not distributed. You cannot make people wealthy by operations. You learn from people who have made it. You learn from BMK, from Rwanda, from Wavamuno. What the government does is to provide the environment. So my brother, the Honorable Minister for Microfinance, you don't have to carry money on your head to make people wealthy. You just have to check, because there is no money that BMK came with from Masaka. He didn't. He came with his head. And now we are celebrating his achievement. The first time I read about his hotel 2 decades ago, he was asked by then a local newspaper called Ngao, the one thing that he would want to do before he dies. And Madam Speaker, 1 minute, completion of Hotel Africana. Madam Speaker, I support the motion that we name that road just next to his hotel, BMK Road. And the road mayor is not here. He's not opposed to naming. He was only saying they need to be involved as the local authority. And I spoke to him about it. He's actually very happy. So the process Madam Speaker has proposed by you is going to be very easy because everybody is in support. Finally, Madam Speaker, the artificial tycoons, these ones who are seasonal, every procurement, government procurement is going to lead to birth of another tycoon. We need the BMKs, Honorable Bahati and Honorable Kasoro, who are in that sector, to get them to teach people how to make money. They should stop hanging around government offices waiting for the next procurement.
Honorable Semuju, don't name people here.
I am not naming, I am only asking ministers. So those people who are hanging around your offices waiting for the next procurement to make them rich, give each one of them a copy of BMK's book. See how money is made. You don't go and carry money in a sack after one procurement and you become a seasonal tycoon. That's why, I mean, look at India, 800 middle class, 800 million middle class. So the artificial tycoons here who are involved in every scandal, they cannot make a country rich. But
Nsanja, Okupa. Those who have not spoken now will speak in the next.
Thank you.
Nsanja.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, for the record, I am Nsanja Patrick, MP in Tenjeru South, as well as the Uganda Parliament Caucus Secretary. I would take this opportunity to thank my brother, Honorable Sereko. Thank you so much for moving the motion as well as moving the entire House to support the motion upon your presentation. Madam Speaker, in this world, life is not a total accomplishment. It is a contribution. What contribution do you make to your closest community before you leave this world? Madam Speaker, when we hear of death, the lessons are picked by the living. And I personally pick a particular lesson from BMK as somebody who understood the values of network and relationship. Madam Speaker, we are told that he bought land, he purchased land to cater for the indigent people, as well as those who would wish to be buried there. If I can pose a question, Madam Speaker, because even in his will he indicated that the land be expanded for other occupants. How many of us here really would do such a thing, apart from accumulating wealth and building bungalows for our children? Madam Speaker, it is important for the living, especially us as members of parliament, to always pick lessons from the dead. A person like BMK must be really appreciated. Secondly, Madam Speaker, we see a gentleman who is trustworthy, a timekeeper, and that is why he was able to
Honorable Elijah, Sarah, then we'll hear from the minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, my brother, Honorable Mahaba Sereko, for the motion. I stand here to support the motion. And on behalf of the people of Castillo and Teso, I want to send our condolences to the family of the late Kibirige. Madam Speaker, allow me just say one, two things. Now, Speaker, a lot has been said. The Honorable Sereko has just talked about the artificial tycoons in Kampala, who are busy struggling to parcel the little land in Kampala. But Dr. Kibirige did not do that. He went to Karamoja. He went to Arua. Can the businessmen in Kampala learn to spread their businesses outside Kampala and stop struggling and parceling the little land in Kampala? I hope they'll do that. The late was a national leader. When he went to Karamoja, he did adopt a girl. I saw that girl the other day when we were tending the barrel, crying and wailing. How many people, how many businesses in Kampala can go up to Karamoja and pick and adopt a daughter? I think this is a person with a national character, which we must all emulate. I'll give you, colleagues, one example. When we're forming PAFO, those who were there at that time, and then FDC, we used to organize meetings in Hotel Africana. Honorable Lumumba was one of our team. At that time, it was very difficult to organize something contrary to the movement system. He was threatened by those who think he was allowing people to hold meetings there. But I remember him telling me, because we were one of the organizers, that one message he told them that Dr. Besige and others were together at one time in the bush. For me, it's no money which is from the opposition, and there's no money from which is the color of government. So for me, I'm a businessman. That was Dr. Kibirige. And that is the type of person who would love Ugandans to be. Finally, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you personally. First, for allowing this motion, but two, when you offered help in Guangzhou to deliver a wheelchair, you even forgot your bag because you were helping a Ugandan. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, I join colleagues to support this motion. And I want to state that I worked with BMK at the time when I was in the Ministry of Health, after he came up to support the sickle cell disease. His NGO was involved in complementing our efforts in the health sector, in creating awareness about the sickle cell disease. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank His Royal Highness the Kabaka, who thereafter also joined in this campaign and dedicated 2017, 2018, and 2019, his birthday, to run and collect funds for the sickle cell disease. One thing that I want to say about BMK, when I had lunch with him after officiating at the sickle cell ceremony that he held in Hotel Africana, he told me, Minister, we must help people. People are out there suffering, we must help them. And I want to thank him for living up to that. Right Honorable Speaker, you said cancer is cancer, and we all agree that cancer is cancer. I got to know about his challenge when we were traveling to Cuba, and we were trying to see how to help get the Cuban, with Dr. Honorable Okelorem, trying to see how to get the Cuban medicine to help him. Unfortunately, his cancer was already advanced. Colleagues, cancer is treatable if diagnosed early, and therefore it's important. Regular checkups, Right Honorable Speaker, just a second, so that I mention this. Fighting Aggressive Cancer was a book that he was writing. I want to request, can the family help to have this book out so that members of the public and we as politicians can read and know what exactly he wanted to tell us about this book. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, he dedicated his time in creating awareness about sickle cell. Can each one of us as members of parliament make it a point to go out there and tell our people before marriage, please go check yourselves. And if both have the sickle cell disease or trait, it's advisable for the couples not to get married.
Thank you. Honorable Nifa.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise up to join the rest of my colleagues that have paid tribute to our fallen, God-fearing, down-to-earth nationalist, Dr. BMK. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here on my own behalf and on behalf of the Ngeye clan that I'm married to. I'm here mourning my senior brother-in-law. Those who don't know me, for the sake of relating it why I'm here now, Anifa, Ajat Anifa Kawoya Bangirana. The Kawoya, I got it after the Ngeye clan found me suitable to be married into this clan. And I want to testify that one of the people that strongly recommended me was the late Dr. BMK. He mentored me, initiated me into the Islamic region, and took me over until I went for Hijjah 3 times. I'm here, therefore, on behalf of the family and the Muslim community, as has been said, that we are mourning one of us that has been our mentor, and many testimonies have been given that Dr. BMK not only looked at the Muslim fraternity, but he was a nationalist. His contribution to the young, to the middle-aged, and the old has been all given out. He was a free He was a free, scandalous man in his marriage, in his life, that he taught all of us, that we are married within this clan, that we should emulate and become so religious and trust in God and respect God. I'm here to thank you personally for having participated, contributed, and ensured that you stay with the family during this time of grieving. It's a difficult time, but the initiative you took, the family is so grateful. Thank you so much. Colleagues, thank you so much. We do appreciate as a family. The members are there, have been into this. May God bless you. May Allah rest the soul of Dr. BMK in eternal peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister of Kampala. But before Minister of Kampala comes, I want to implore the Minister of Kampala to section 7.2 of the Act, of the KCCA Act, under paragraph 7, part A of the third schedule, which says KCCA has powers to identify the streets and public places for signing the names. But what is also very important is section 5.3 of the same act, which says KCCA will act as an agent of central government. So whatever we are doing is within the law, and that's why, basing on those acts, that's why we are imploring you to ensure that we have Wampeo Avenue as per the prayers renamed to BMK Avenue. Can we have your commitment? And we are giving you these 7 days as the house.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament. As a political head, I take this opportunity to thank Honorable Sereko for this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I also add my voice to strongly support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, I will make sure, and I assure you that I will make sure that the authority rename Wampeo Avenue to BMK Avenue. Right Honorable Speaker, I also extend my heartfelt condolence to the family of the late BMK, and I also like to add a voice to what Honorable Append has said, because we are all here. We know cancer is painless in the first stage, but how many of us have gone for a test of cancer? How many of us have taken our parents for a test of cancer? Because by the time you realize that you have cancer, second stage, third stage, however much you have, you will not get rid of cancer. So members, let's test for cancer, cancer for cervical cancer, prostate cancer, and other types of cancers. We all have insurances. We can contact our doctors and we test for cancer as members of Parliament and as cabinet ministers and categories. Let's test for cancer. Otherwise, cancer eats you when you are not you don't get pain in the first stage. So by the time you get symptoms, you already be sick. May he so.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Kampala, Hajat Aisha, Hajat Kavanda, and we will give you 7 days to report back to the House. Prime Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity
to thank the mover of the motion, Honorable Nsereko. And I want also to thank all the members who have contributed to pay tribute to the late Dr. Blaimu Chibirige. Let me add my voice to all those members. And I want to say that 2 days before the death of Dr. Chibirige, I was at Africana and I talked to the brother. I was asking him, how is Haji? He said, Alhamdulillah, he's not well, but we thank God that we were told that he will die in 2 years' time. But that time he was saying, it is now 7 years. So we thank the Almighty for all that time that God has made him survive. We want to say that the Almighty may strengthen the family, because it's not all that easy. Dr. Chibirige was a polite man, religious man, generous man, innovative, an entrepreneur mentioned, but he was a man who cannot be, I don't know how we can elaborate all what he had. From that humble beginning, he reached those levels which people could not even imagine that somebody who started the way he started could reach where Dr. Chibirige had reached. Dr. Chibirige helped the young, the old, the poor and the rich, the Muslims and non-Muslims. It was Dr. Chibirige. Dr. Chibirige lived in accordance with Islamic values and norms. I want to say that at Hotel Africana, we have a mosque. And in that mosque, many people have been helped through that mosque. It's not only the prayers, being that he has been a man he is somebody who was good at uniting, bring people together. In that mosque, many people's problems have been solved. The sick, sponsorship, the old, I cannot mention all of them, but they could come in that mosque and they will go when the problems have been solved. I want to say that Dr. Chibirige, people have proposed that we need to name that road Wampeo before, to rename it in the name of Dr. Chibirige, so that people can remember. Right now, if you ask somebody why that road is called Wampeo, nobody knows why it was called Wampeo. But if we name it in the name of Dr. Chibirige or BMK, the present generation will know, and we have something to point at. You say that is Dr. Chibirige, he's the man behind all that. And he has done a lot in the country, Uganda and beyond. In Africa, I want to say that we have lost a statesman. We pray for his soul. And we also continue to pray that may the Almighty forgive his shortcomings and rest his soul in eternal peace. I thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hajat. Honorable members, I think we've had enough debate on this issue. To the widows, Hajat Sophie Mwanga Kibirige and Hajat Hawa Mwanga Kibirige. To the children and the grandchildren of BMK, we place you in the hands of the Almighty. We want to strengthen you as you mourn the icon of Uganda, of the world, because you've invested beyond Uganda. May the good Lord be with you as you strengthen, as you keep the family together for the unity and keep the legacy of BMK. And as Parliament of Uganda, we've moved a motion to pay tribute. A motion in a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Alhaji Bulaimu Mwanga Kibirige. And those in favor of the motion say aye, and those in contrary, no.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Congratulations. Thank you so much, the family, for coming. I am directing the clerk to extract the proceedings of today and give it to the family.
Sorry, allow me, Right Honorable Speaker, to thank you and thank the honorable members for supporting this noble motion. I'm really blessed and I'm really grateful for the deliberations, but as a country, we are proud of all of you, and let's all try to build a legacy. Thank you very much, honorable members. That was a great debate.
Madam Speaker, something the family leaves.
Thank you. Matters of national importance, Honorable Businje.
Madam Speaker, something
Honorable
small, please.
Businje.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Businje. The family of BMK, thank you. We can excuse you. Thank you for coming. Be blessed. Honorable Businje.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Let's not take all the time on one thing. Honorable Businje.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. And for records, I'm Busing Harriet Mugenyi, Woman MP for Hoima District, and the Vice Chairperson, Bunyoro Parliamentary Caucus. Right Honorable Speaker, my issue is very short. I want to take you back to 1 month ago when you ruled, Honorable Speaker, that farmers, tobacco farmers in our areas be paid. You actually gave a deadline that the minister should come and present here within 2 weeks the criteria they are going to use to pay. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we know what it took, the 10th Parliament, to put that money for tobacco farmers on as a supplementary budget. The money was gotten. The money is available with the Minister of Trade. The farmers are not getting the money. Right, Honorable Speaker, I pray that you preside over the Honorable Minister of Trade to ensure that the farmers are paid urgently. I thank you.
Government. Okay, additional information.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the information I want to give Honorable Harriet, we passed at a bill here in the last Parliament, the Tobacco Amendment Bill 2020. And Right Honorable Speaker, in that bill, we tried as much as possible to protect the farmers. And we even said that we should not allow any unprocessed leaf to move out of the country. This was to enable farmers get their money. And this money was passed, it was on the budget. Right Honorable Speaker, I wonder how, because we have the same factories in Busoga, there is a factory in Arua. I wonder how, even up to date, farmers are still suffering without this payment. I think this is so urgent. Work was done by this Parliament, and the ministry should respond, and the Minister of Finance should tell us, because it is something that was done. I just wanted
Thank
to add
you.
that information.
Obama, you have something?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. On this matter, if I can also add on, additional information. When we met with the Honorable Deputy Attorney General and the Minister of State for Trade, together with the representative of the farmers and their lawyers about 2 weeks ago, we reached a consensus, more or less. And what was remaining, or what remained, Honorable Speaker, was for the memorandum of understanding to be drawn by the Deputy Attorney General and brought to this Parliament for scrutiny and endorsement, and then the process of payment could go forward. So I think what we need now to address, Honorable Speaker, is to see if the Attorney General's chambers could escalate the speed on which the memorandum of understanding is being prepared, so that it can be brought to this House for endorsement, and then the process can proceed, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, thank you. We've gotten information, the money is available. Honorable Minister, maybe what we need is the MOU, which we ordered you that we should have, and that is Attorney General's chambers. Can we first hear from the minister, then you?
This will help the minister to submit the
Okay.
Right, Honorable Speaker, this matter has been pending for such a long time. I remember even in the tennis parliament, members from the affected areas kept coming here, asking for the same thing. My issue is, your chair needs to use the authority vested in you to give these people the timelines by when the memorandum should be drawn. Without a deadline, we may go for the same issues again. Thank you.
Members, Honorable Minister had actually given that office 3 weeks, which has expired. The fact is there is money on the account, 11 billion, which we provided for in the last parliament. What was left with is for you to bring the MOU between those people you were giving money and government, because we are more of lending money to those companies. So when do we have the MOU? And members, we need to agree on one thing: no payment without MOU. This is taxpayers' money.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, my colleague, for raising this important issue. It is true, all of us know that we appropriated 11 billion as a result of the farmers in Bunyoro. When the payment time came, as we had been guided by Parliament, that no payment should be made unless there is an MOU with the companies that were supposed to pay the farmers. So we have been moving in this process. So last time I was here, I promised that we are going to conclude this matter. And indeed we moved, as the honorable member has said, on the other side of the House. One company is agreeable to paying the farmers of Bunyoro with an MOU. Another company, Continental, became a little bit of another version, a bit stubborn, and said we cannot pay only the people of Bunyoro. We can't enter into an MOU with government unless you are paying the people of Bunyoro and the people of West Nile. And you recall the appropriation was actually to pay the people of Bunyoro to begin with. So that's where the complaint came. That's where the promise of the president was premised. So we are now concluding with those who are ready, one company, and pay those. And those who are not ready, we continue to negotiate with a view of making sure that we we finalize. Can I request, Madam Speaker, that we come to this house with an MOU next week, then this matter we come to a conclusion of it.
Thank you. Bringing the matter next week to the House. We have Dan Kimasho. Dan Kimasho, Ruhonda. Be brief.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. For this opportunity, I raise on a matter of national importance about the specialized health services in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, the country has been grappling with COVID for now almost 2 years. The side effects of COVID are enormous and more harmful for those that have survived it. Liver functioning challenges, cardiac challenges, erectile dysfunction challenges, Right Honorable Speaker. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the only hope for this country in terms of super specialized services is premised on Rubowa Hospital. This government gave a promissory note. Part of the money was given, over 50%, to this project. The hospital is still in the foundation. Right Honorable Speaker, the last time we checked, the minister and the PS were bounced at the entrance of the hospital, who had gone to visit the progress of this facility, which is our biggest hope for specialized services in this country. And now I'm wondering, how are we preparing, Right Honorable Speaker? My prayer is, Right Honorable Speaker, information.
Thank you, honorable colleague. Honorable colleague, Madam Speaker, honorable has raised the issue of a specialized hospitals to address some of the challenges the country has met. I think one other thing that we really need to get from the government is, His Excellency the President, I wish I knew this matter was coming here. I was going to bring a directive to Uganda Land Commission to give Uganda Heart Institute land and the Uganda Cancer Institute. Madam Speaker, what is surprising, when Uganda Heart Institute is securing the place in Nakuru and Cancer Institute, the Solicitor General has written to Heart Institute to stop the construction. Yet the President had directed Uganda Land Commission awarded and gave the land, 10 acres, to the Uganda Heart Institute. So, Madam Speaker, I really want to know from government whether government is really very serious. How can now the Solicitor General stop the Heart Institute from the construction? Because I remember even General Moses Ali led a team when the government revoked. I can take information, additional information.
Information from information, okay.
From a minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue that Honorable Elijah is talking about touches on a report that had been presented to the 10th Parliament. And I think it's important that you direct the Physical Infrastructure Committee to really handle that matter and bring a report to this House regarding the Nakuru land issue. Because the report was presented, it had gaps, and the report was rejected because the members felt that the committee then had edited out certain key important information in that report. And that report would really help us and save us on this issue of the Nakawa land issue matter, where Uganda Heart Institute is.
Thank you.
So it's a similar case like Lelubawa. So the president gives directives, but someone, because Madam Speaker, I can tell you the people who are in that ministry who are behind stopping Uganda Heart Institute were lawyers to OPEC company, and others are lawyers to third parties in that land. They are the ones who are writing from that ministry to try to stop. How can they disrespect the president's directive? The Right Honorable Prime Minister, I think, should be given instructions to follow up this matter. We cannot.
Was it just a letter from the lawyers or a court order?
the court order was issued long time ago by the tenants of that place. The second order that came was after government had repossessed Naguru. So it was saying the status quo remains, meaning what the government had repossessed should remain as government property. So because surely, if that was the case, how would the president not know about that? If these are the very people who are supposed to advise the president. Thank you.
Dan, what are your prayers?
My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that
Yes.
Madam Speaker, liver functioning challenges. It means the function of the liver, how the extent at which the liver functions. Renal or kidney functioning challenge implies the extent to which the kidney is functioning, as well as the rectal functioning. These challenges can
What
be
is your
done
procedure?
when a blood sample is removed to test the function. The procedure matter I'm raising, is it procedural right for a colleague, Honorable Dan, to confuse this house by raising the liver function test, which can be done in a simple hospital with a specialized functioning test at Lobo, which can talk as the Heart Institute, the liver function, the brain, those are the specialized health functioning. Is here in procedure?
Honorable Doctor, let's not run away from a fact. The fact is there is a problem. Let's not cover the problem by bringing in medical technicalities. The member is raising a serious matter.
Madam Speaker.
No, just a minute. Dan, can I have your prayers?
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for your guidance. The minister should have utilized the opportunity of being closer to me for more clarification. My point was, while we can make tests, we cannot do liver transplants, for example. We can't do kidney transplants. Our hope as a country was, if Uganda is complete, some of these transplants can be done here without going into medical tourism. That doesn't need rocket science. Right Honorable Speaker, my point is, my prayer, Minister of Health should give us a status report on the progress of Uganda, together with Minister of Finance on the absorption of the loan and how it's performing in terms of our target and the goal of achieving the Uganda as a specialized hospital for this country. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, this issue is touching on the country and especially a very important function in the medical area. You are all aware that some time back, people were sent away from that place. I don't think we can just leave it for the Minister of Health to come and give us only status report. I will request kindly, Madam Speaker, would it be procedure right for you to send a committee to bring for us a report on this issue of the hospital? Thank you.
Can we have the minister, but at the same time, minister, I don't want these responses of lamentation. What we need is a report. Let's have a report on this, because I know you may not have overhead now. We need a report on Loboa Hospital. We need a report on Naguru and then Nakawa. Can we have that report? And we may need all the ministers responsible to be present. All the ministers responsible for this issue to be present. My sister, I don't want you to burn your hands. Just get a report. You can say something.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate the concern of the honorable member, Honorable Dan Kimosho, and the information that was given by Honorable Elijah Okupa. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to reassure you and the members that the time I have so far been in that ministry as the Minister of State Health General Duties, I have tried my level best to acquit myself with some of these issues. And I want to agree with you and appreciate that as a ministry, we have taken keen note and interest of the issues, especially in the area of specialized hospitals, as far as services. And as you have said, these specialized hospitals were given autonomous from the Murago National Hospital to give to decongest Murago Hospital. So I agree that we shall come here with a comprehensive report touching on these 3 hospitals we have directed. However, I wanted to make some very small clarification.
We'll give you 2 weeks to bring the report.
Yes, I wanted to put to the record of the information of Honorable Okupa. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of Naguru land, the government so far has supported this to start the initial construction. Matters thereafter raised that some of the tenants who are still encroaching on the land went to court. The case is before court. We had to meet His Excellency the President because the Minister of Finance was ready with the funding for the project to kick off. But because of the case being in court, we needed guidance so that the Attorney General comes in. And the Honorable Cooper, you are aware, once the case is still before court, there is nowhere further construction could have continued. So at the moment, Right Honorable Speaker, in our report, we shall show you the progress, the status where this hospital is, and the funding that government is ready with all the funding, and we are only going to come here.
Order, Madam Speaker.
I thank you for that. In
Order,
2 weeks'
Speaker.
time, we shall come with the
Order, Madam
status
Speaker.
report over this matter.
There's an
Thank
order.
you.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I was moving.
She has finished, so you can't put an order. Honorable Rohonda. Rohonda, then Panado.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand on an issue of national importance. Right Honorable Speaker, last month, you directed the Ministry of Finance to come and explain how far they have gone with the grant on 2 stadiums by the Chinese government, Buhinga Stadium and Lira Stadium. Right Honorable Speaker, in 2018, the President led a delegation of 100 Ugandans to the China-Africa Summit. And during the China-African Summit, the President of Uganda requested the President of China to construct 2 stadiums, to give a donation to construct 2 stadiums, Buhinga Stadium in Fort Portal and the Lira Stadium in Lira. When you directed the Minister of Finance, up to this point in time, now a month has passed. After 2 weeks, I don't know whether it's like the tobacco. After 2 weeks, there is no response from the Minister of Finance. I would like you, Right Honorable Speaker, to note that before going to China, the delegation of Uganda was briefed that in China, In China, Right Honorable Speaker, they don't spend lots of time on paperwork, planning seminars, workshops, and conferences. The Chinese prefer to concentrate on getting the task done on time. Right Honorable Speaker, really, this is not money coming from the consolidated fund. It is a donation from the Chinese government. Why should the Ministry of Finance sit on all this after the Ministry of Education has already done all that it takes for this money to come for the construction of the stadiums?
Thank you, Alex. Finance.
Thank you
I
very much.
gave you 2 weeks to present that report. Can I have the report tomorrow?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. By tomorrow, we shall be ready with the report. And much as the matter might not be of an urgent national importance.
It is because you refused to respond.
But tomorrow we shall be ready.
Honorable Kasolo.
Tomorrow we
Order.
shall, Right Honorable Speaker.
Order.
Tomorrow
Honorable-
we shall be ready
Order.
with the report.
Honorable Kasolo.
Order, Right Honorable.
By the time
Right
I
Honorable
allow
Speaker.
a matter on the order paper as a matter of national importance, then it is a matter
Yes.
of national importance. It is not, what is not a matter of national importance is something from your constituents alone. This is something affecting the whole country.
Most obliged,
It's
Right
affecting
Honorable.
sports. Honorable Teddy. Hey, Panado, then Teddy. Panado is making a maiden speech.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I also congratulate you upon your being elected as the Speaker. And I thank our colleagues. I thank our colleagues for the support you gave us. We look forward for you to entertaining our interests, especially we members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, I happen to be a son of a former police officer, and we have a group of legends from Zambia Police Barracks, and we had a meeting on Saturday. What we had the meeting on Saturday is not vital, but what we saw in the barracks about the state of the barracks and the matters pertaining the welfare of police officers. Madam Speaker, when it clocks 7 at night, you cannot even have a pathway of where you can access anything in the barracks. They have taken 3 months minus having power, and those people are totally quiet. But at the end of the day, when they come out and rampage on us, none of us will have it. Because 3 months minus power, and yes, these are police officers, at times they are guarding some of these ministers, the Kasolo, name them. They are supposed to iron their clothes, they are supposed to charge their phones, and they are supposed to be on duty by 7, but they don't have power. And to summarize it, finally, maybe, and to sum it up, Madam Speaker, even it is the same situation in Bukedea, it is the same situation in Uganda municipality. Not only on power issues, but the power is very vital. But these people can even share a pit latrine. They can be around 400 police officers sharing one pit latrine. Think of a situation when they are lining up for only one pit latrine, one goes in, and when it delays, they disturb the neighbors. So I'm requesting, Madam.
Government.
Information. Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, further information. Thank you, my brother.
Before the Chief Whip comes in. Madam Speaker, on the issue of the police in Zambia barracks, being a former son of a police officer also, I lived in that barracks. But Madam Speaker, yesterday, I was in that barracks. Honorable Chief Whip, we need to help. Even water, they have taken 1 month without running water in that place. But on the issue of the power, for us who use the bodyguards or security, they rely on charging their walkie-talkies. If they don't have power to charge the walkie-talkies, how are they able to communicate? So this becomes a security risk. It becomes difficult for them to communicate. So the issue of power and water utilities at the barracks, and not only Zambia barracks, Ntinda, and the others should be taken
Members?
seriously. Thank you.
Government.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for raising this very important issue. At first, when we thought that the issue was about the blackout, I cross-checked, Right Honorable Speaker. It's not a blackout out of a misconnection, because in Zambia is fed by two lines, feeders, Kisugu and Queensway. But now we've found it's an issue to do with the management of police, and I've raised it with the Minister of Internal Affairs. Tomorrow is meeting for this to ensure this issue is handled expeditiously. It's a very bad issue. We can't condone it in any way.
Honorable Government Chief Whip, I know you have bodyguards. Just imagine how you and my bodyguard are staying in darkness. You know what is happening with the Panga people now, assuming they enter in the barracks. So I think we need to help these police officers have power in their places, have water in their places, and work on their latrines. At least if they can improvise a latrine for a police officer, for more latrines for them. But what is very crucial is power and water. And I want a report tomorrow in the House on what you have done to have power in these barracks. Actually, it is not only in Zambia, it is in all barracks in the country. Because I don't think a police officer can go out in the night in the guard and is leaving his family in darkness, leaving a family without water. Most of us have grown up in that life of being in the barracks. So we must appreciate where we are coming from. So we want a report tomorrow. We miss you in finance because Teddy is making a maiden speech. So don't disturb her.
Right Honorable Speaker and members, I'm Teddy Namboze, woman representative, Mpigi District. I raise on matter of national importance affecting the labor workforce in Mpigi District. Right Honorable Speaker, Mpigi District is an upcoming industrial district in the country with various industries sprouting in almost every corner. This would have been an opportunity since industrialization would ideally stimulate employment rates. But on contrary,
Teddy, the government chief whip is whispering to me that remove the mask. That you remove the mask.
Please, come on. It is turning into a curse. 10 factories, which I have visited, have their workforce underpaid, delay their payments, do not provide safe working gears, continuously mistreat and brutally torture employees, illegally expel them without explanations after sustaining severe injuries while on duty. The management of these factories have failed to implement the Occupation Safety and Healthy Act 2006, Section 13, Clause 1, and Section 3, Clause 1 of the Workers' Compensation Act, Cap 225. In a period of 3 months, Honorable Speaker, my constituency office in the district has received more than 15 cases of gross violation.
Switch on.
Of employees' rights. Complaints of abuse, Madam Speaker, of employee rights are from the following factories: Evergreen Wood Industries, situated in Chiringente sub-county; Zongbag Industries, a plywood factory in Kayawe Town Council; and Sino Plywood Factory in Ijeza, that is Mudoma sub-county, where workers are ill-treated and expelled without any explanation after sustaining severe injuries, even without medical care. This is evident with the following cases. Mrs. Penina Nantunda, who lost her hand at the waist joint. Mr. Amos Alinda, who lost his 2 fingers while on duty in Evergreen in Nachilebe. Mrs. Pauline Namuli, who lost her ring finger and a middle finger sustained injury during the process of work in Zongbank Industries. Mr. Mwong Godfrey, a resident of Mvuba Village, Jeza Parish in Mduma Sub-County, lost part of his arm while on duty in Sino Plywood Factory. Right, Honorable. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, I pray that Honorable Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, 1, conducts an inspection into these industries to roll out adherence to the legal provisions and safety standards. 2, to conduct investigations on the operational status of these factories and calls for proper timely legal compensation of injured employees.
Switch on.
Table before Parliament bills to review or amend A, the Occupational Safety and Healthy Act, B, the Employment Act, and 3, the Workers' Compensation Act, to provide updated adequate compensation of the on-duty injured employees. Lastly, I pray that this House instructs the Uganda Human Rights Commission through the Minister of Justice and the Constitutional Affairs to investigate and report on the abuses of workers' rights at these factories. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Teddy. Government. Solomon,
Thank you,
stop
Right
disturbing
Honorable.
my member.
Right Honorable Minister. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Minister of Gender is not here, but we've noted, and we are going to make a follow-up. Your answer will be answered, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed,
Thank
Honorable
you.
Speaker.
So we need a report on that. People are losing their lives, their hands, their what. So we need a report on that. How much time do we give you? Let's first get the time.
Right,
Yes.
Honorable, since they are not here, I request that let us give them 1 week because they have been so busy with COVID task force.
Okay, 1
So,
week.
1
We should
week.
get a response for Teddy. Yes, Gilbert, what's your problem?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter raised by the honorable member is very important. If you look at how the owners of the factories are mistreating Ugandans, it's quite terrible. If it is procedural, okay, Right Honorable Speaker, this is the time we need to discuss matters concerning the minimum wage, because if it comes to the payment of these people, some of them are being paid 40,000 per month. Others are being paid 100,000. The factory owner determines the amount to pay someone.
You're discussing what she has brought before you get a
Yes,
response.
if I'm saying,
So what are you discussing about?
yeah, so Right Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying, if it is procedural, okay, this is the time you need to order the government to come with the minimum wage discussion. It's very important to help the employees in this country. This is what I'm seeking from you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Take note. Ibanda, Panado, Macho.
Thank you so much, the Right Honorable Speaker. For the purposes of record, I'm Ramlicha Uganda, Member of Parliament for Ntoroko County, Ntoroko District. The Right Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you upon being appointed the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda. And I have no doubts in me that we have the right person in the right office. The Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to raise on the matter of national importance over the issue of floods in Ntoroko District. The Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, you know, in 2019, there were rising waters on our lakes in the country. Lake Albert was not spared either. The entire Kanara sub-county was submerged. 6 sub-counties were submerged. Now it turned into a lake. Kanara Town Council also, 2 wards were submerged. The Right Honorable Speaker, our people are living in a very, very terrible situation. My prayer, the Right Honorable Speaker, I want through you to direct government to send or dispatch an inter-ministerial team to go on the ground, because we have issues of roads, water, education, health. They should go and assess the situation and come and report. 2, relocating these flood victims. Our people are suffering, the Right Honorable Speaker. And I thank the Prime Minister, the Office of the Prime Minister. They have been giving some relief, food and non-food items. But these food items and non-food items do not match the number of people who are suffering. I want really to ask government through Parliament to direct various ministries of health, education, to commit funds from their current expenditure to provide relief to these affected people in Ntoroko District. I thank you so much, Right Honorable.
Thank you, government.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, yesterday we were discussing on the same issues about those areas that are in need of those services. But in that place, some food was sent, and again, food is going to be sent because at least we got the money. A team is on ground, is going to assess the situation, and they'll come back with a report. So I just want to tell the honorable member that the OPM is handling. I thank you.
Macho.
Minister. Honorable Minister, the issue raised by the member is of urgent public importance. He's talking about those sub-counties that have been submerged, meaning a number of people have been displaced and their lives, normal lives, disrupted. It is not about the aid in food and non-food items. It's about relocating those people.
Right Honorable Speaker, among these things, there are those which are long-term and some are short-term. And I've said a team is on ground to assess the situation and handle those ones which are long-term and those ones which are short-term. So that's why I was saying that honorable member, please just give us time. OPM's office is handling.
Honorable Uganda, is a team on ground?
The Right Honorable Speaker, you know, sometimes we must speak the truth. That's a fact. Always, sure. Since the year 2019, the Right Honorable Speaker, people have been coming, but of now, because I left Ntoroko yesterday. I came from Ntoroko yesterday. There is no team on the ground. And our people are suffering and we need immediate solution to those issues, especially relocating those flood victims. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Prime Minister, I think what you need to do.
Right, Honorable, we have a disaster district team. First of all, it is there. Secondly, I was saying that yesterday we were talking about the same. We have just got the money, and a team is going to come from Kampala to go and, yes, we work as a team. So that's what, Right Honorable, I was talking
Honorable
about.
Minister,
I thank you, Right Honorable.
Honorable Minister, what you need to do is to send an interministerial team from different lands, disaster, all of them, to assess the situation and then report. And maybe what you also need to do is when the team is going on ground, they should go with the Member of Parliament. They should be there for them to, next time, not to say that we have not seen a team. So it is good for you to rescue the people. If Uganda has not been invited, you need to invite Uganda to the constituency and work on that issue. And Honorable Taiwa, you had started calling all the disaster areas, people affected with the disaster. Why don't you call the team again and see how you can handle this issue? Because this is really something which is very urgent and must be handled even before coming to the House.
Right Honorable, like the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister has said, we are handling and we are going to do that as you've guided.
For instance, we have Honorable Nsubuga. Where is it? Honorable Nsubuga has a bridge which has broken. There is nowhere people are going to pass. I want you to look for Honorable Nsubuga. Is he here? Yeah, Nsubuga Paul. So Macho.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, maiden standing here. Madam Speaker and my colleagues have risen with a matter of national importance concerning an issue of value addition facility in Busia municipality. Whereas we want to thank the government of President Yoweri Museveni, happy birthday, ministers, tell him we have wished him a happy birthday from Busia, because during campaigns, he launched a 24 billion value addition factory, the one of state of its kind in East Africa. The fact it has turned to be a tourist attraction by the Kenyans who are coming to trade in Uganda. It was built to dry, do storage and milling of all cereals through the MATIP 2 program. But after commissioning in December by His Excellency, the President, the value addition factory has not worked at all. Moreover, it is ready because the Ministry of Local Government has refused to give the operational guidelines to Busia municipality leadership.
It's not that he has refused, he has delayed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, by your guidance. It has deliberately delayed to give the guidelines to Busia municipality to operationalize this value addition, because we hear they want to give this value addition to Kampala-based people. Moreover, when the President was commissioning, Madam Speaker, the President advised that the business people through Busia produce dealers, cooperative and savings should take over this value addition factory. We therefore, Madam Speaker, have a prayer number 1, that the Ministry of Local Government should give guidance and authority to Busia Municipality Council leadership to hand over this value addition factory to the business traders who are dealing in cereals and produce in the name of Busia Produce Dealer Circle and Saving Credit. Madam Speaker, I will use the same juncture to have important matter number 2. Road from Tororo, Vabuteba,
Honorable Macho,
to Busia is very impassable.
Honorable Macho, that is Yes, you know, he's a smuggler. So, so anyway, sorry about that. But what we can do, Honorable Taeva, the issue of the roads is for the whole of the East. Ask the Minister of Works to have a meeting with the members of Parliament from Eastern Region and sort out the issue of. Then Honorable Minister is going to respond to the first issue.
The minister responds, I really want to take, on behalf of my colleagues this way, the minister should tell the president a happy birthday message. Thank you.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, Madam Speaker, as a person who comes from the border also, we are normally referred as cross-border traders. Yes, so smugglers is a staple in a very dangerous direction. Madam Speaker, there are some facilities, value-adding facilities that were installed by the Ministry of Agriculture, by the Ministry of Local Government. Some are working, others have challenges like the one of Busia, and we have taken a decision as government to really look into this matter and make sure that we coordinate and make sure that those which are not functioning, those for some reason or the other, start functioning. And therefore, I'll take up this matter together with my colleagues in local government to make sure that the guidelines, whatever is stopping that value-adding facility to start functioning immediately. And I will liaise with the Honorable Macho to ensure that that happens, and also will visit the district of Busia to give confidence and support so that this value-adding factory starts working. I thank you. I think on roads, I've been told by government chief whip that the Minister of Roads will follow up on this matter and also get in touch with you, and also, if need be, come to the House and brief the House on the progress.
Thank you, Honorable Joram Ruranga. Elders. Honorable Musila.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, Bubulo East. Oh, maiden speech. Thank you for today. Madam Speaker, I raise on the theme of umeme and the police brutality in my district and the constituency in the Bubulo East and the Bugisu region generally. Madam Speaker, over time and the years, seemingly there is simply freedom that the police of Uganda and the umeme can terrorize the East, more so Bugisu region. Certainly, many times they say the Bagisu are thieves of power. I want to quote an incident. Madam Speaker, of course, this is very derogatory to a community which is served with less than 10% of all the power of Uganda. And to simply flatly say that all of them are thieves. That's not right, first of all. But particularly, Madam Speaker, on the 27th of last month, police and the umeme visited brutality in my constituency, in Ibumbo and other places. Madam Speaker, it is true there could be incidences of illegal connections, and that can be even seen at police stations. All my police posts in Ibumbo, in Magala and other places have illegal power. But umeme particularly has a way of either disturbing the meterage, which of course our local people can't, and they don't know that technology, but they have a way of tampering with them. so that they can mint money from people. Secondly, arrests arbitrarily, and in most cases, even the underage. I want to quote a case of young little Mary who was put in the police cells. The 13-year-old girl on 27th was put in police. The police don't care that this one is an underage. They don't care completely. My plea, Madam Speaker, is to the Ministry of Internal Affairs as to whether they know that this brutality is going on, especially in Bugisu and in my constituency. Secondly, to especially.
Right, Honorable
There is a
Speaker.
procedure matter.
No, on the clarification.
Procedure takes precedence. I thought you are old in the parliament.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this parliament is accorded with very high dignity. Right Honorable Speaker, I do not know whether it's procedurally right to discuss, and not even when the honorable member consents to the action which is on ground, that yes, there might be legal connections. Right Honorable Speaker, matters of the law and issues of punishment of the culprits, we may not have a say as per se if the police finds these people guilty of what they are doing and they are arrested. I do not think it's procedurally right if we begin to caution whether we should protect illegal people who are getting power illegally. I don't know whether it's procedurally right.
That is not correct. It is illegal. First of all, we should not even discuss in this house an illegality.
Madam Speaker,
Huh?
allow me.
And I want you, like when you people, when you're talking about, you must have evidence to that effect. Because if you don't have evidence, it's just now on a hearsay. We are relying on what you're saying. Maybe, like you said, you're making a maiden speech. You want your people to see you talking, but Honorable Musila,
yes,
you must have evidence to that, and we should condone is an aspect of illegality. Yes. No, Musila is still on.
Yeah. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, for clarity, I want to say, I can't protect anybody or condone any illegality, by the way. What I'm speaking, yes, the honorable member may theorize, but the truth in my constituency is that people are visited with brutality, Madam Speaker. Even those who have paid clearly, those who have been connected clearly.
Can we task the Minister of Internal Affairs, Energy? Can we get a government position on this?
Right Honorable Speaker, we've taken note of what the Honorable is raising, but I thought we could also get some information and some evidence so that the ministers, both Internal Affairs and the
Honorable Masila, can you provide evidence? Can you provide more information?
so that they can base on that? Thank you.
Please go to the Prime Minister's office, give her the information, all that is required for the issue to be sorted out.
Most obliged, Madam Speaker, I will provide all the information, including the underage who were arrested.
Sarah Prendi. Madam Sarah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on a matter of national importance. Right Honorable Speaker, it's almost 42 years since a convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women was held, and Uganda did ratify that treaty in 1980. Right Honorable Speaker, in support of that treaty, we enacted the Constitution, and Article 21 of our Constitution is very clear that all persons are equal before the law, but also most importantly, in the Constitution, it is clearly stated that the state shall ensure that there is gender balance and fair representation of all marginalized groups on all constitutional bodies, The state shall ensure that there is gender balance and fair representation of all marginalized groups on all constitutional and other bodies. Madam Speaker, you must have read in the media about the new board of the National Social Security Fund, which was inaugurated by the Minister of Finance, appointing Mr. Peter Kimbowa as the chairperson and 9 other members. Madam Speaker, of these 10 people, only 1 is a woman called Penina Tukamwesiga. Madam Speaker, I want to pray. I'm glad that the 3rd Deputy Prime Minister is here. She was the Minister of Gender for 10 years and knows that what men can do, women can do.
Or even better.
There is no reason why in this era and time, men should occupy all positions on boards and only 1 woman appointed. I am surprised that this could even pass through cabinet where there are women. Madam Speaker, my prayer is that you direct the Minister of Finance and the Right Honorable Prime Minister here to rectify this and ensure that the 1/3, at least 1/3 or more, should be women on this board. And this should be handled, okay? I take the information.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Sarah is my very good friend. So when I stand here, I stand to support her. These kind of imbalances are not only happening in that area. Look at the appointments of ministers. For instance, in a cabinet, all the prime ministers are what? Women. So that's where we are now. I thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Speaker. Thank you.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, my friend, the Honorable from Kumi, was just making a joke, and he knows that at least this time we have more than 30% women in cabinet. So, Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that you direct the Minister, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, together with the Minister of Finance, to rectify this anomaly, and it is urgent. And this has been happening even in other boards. Now that I have time, I am going to closely scrutinize and ensure that the 1/3 is actually implemented. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Prime Minister, this is not a matter of joke. It's a matter of women. The 30% in an institution. Well, we appreciate that we are more than 30% in the cabinet. We appreciate that. But in an institution like NSSF, as she said, what a man can do, even a woman can do even better. So can we have a response on how that can be rectified?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I know when you want work to be done, you give it to a man. But when you want work to be done better, you give it to a woman.
Yes.
Order. Right Honorable Speaker, this is an issue that has been emphasized in cabinet, that the percentage of women should be realized. We need to emphasize the gender imbalances, religion, and region. Those are issues that we emphasize in cabinet. But now that we have the Honorable Minister of Finance, maybe who presented that board, I don't know, maybe that time I did not attend. Let him come and clarify But as he comes to clarify, Right Honorable Speaker, we are going to take it so that such issues should not continue. But let me call the Honorable Minister of Finance to come and give a clarification why such a board was passed. Thank you.
You know, we don't want a clarification. We want it rectified. We want it rectified. It is our right to have 30% in every institution. We don't even mind even if you are given us 30% in cabinet, but so long as we have the 30%.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, Second Deputy Prime Minister. Personally, as a Kasolo, Right Honorable Speaker, I respect women so much and I love them. So let me go back, Right Honorable Speaker, and consult with my senior colleague, Minister for Finance. We shall get back to Parliament, possibly tomorrow, because this is a very serious matter. It should be resolved as soon as possible. Yes.
I want you to look at, it's a constitutional matter. Look at Article 32 and Article 33 on affirmative action in favor of marginalized group and then the rights of women. It's our right. It's not a privilege. You're not doing us a favor. Next.
Item number 3, laying of papers, budget proposal of the sports subsector, Ministry of Education and Sports.
Honorable members, as you recall, in this house, before we went for recess, we asked, I think 1 month back, we asked the minister to give us a paper on the financial implication, that is the budget plus the 8 proposed donors, corporate bodies that can help us in our sports industry. So that's the paper that the minister is laying that will be sent to the Committee of Education for consideration.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to present a budget proposal of the sports sector in the Ministry of Education and Sports of the Republic of Uganda for consideration. I beg to lay.
Thank you. And then the list of the institutions, are they together? Next.
Yes, Madam Speaker, they are attached.
Okay.
Item number 4, presentation of reports on the implementation of the EMYOOGA program in various regions of the country, Choli sub-region.
Let's have 1 or 2 reports, then we will continue tomorrow. 10 minutes, actually. 10 minutes. Give us a summary.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much for this opportunity. I beg to lay the working documents because we will not have time to talk to have the details, but the detailed report signed by the members are here. I beg to lay. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to report the status report on the EMYOOGA implementation in Acholi sub-region by the Acholi Parliamentary Group. And therefore, because you said there's no time, I'm not going to go to other details. Allow me to jump the introduction bit of it, the methodology that we used, and the objectives which are clear because you gave us. Let me start from the findings. Honorable Speaker, the followings are the group findings on the progress of the EMYOOGA in the Acholi sub-region. The criteria used for distribution of EMYOOGA funds, each SACCO group should have a certificate from the Ministry of Trade after being trained from the Microfinance Support Center. And each mother EMYOOGA group bank account receives funds and again disburses other to smaller or subsidiary groups. On the eligibility, Ugandan citizen who is above 18 years and operating under a SACCO group. The SACCO should be fully registered with the District Community Development Office. Later, the person has to be trained by the Microfinance Support Center, where the certificate from the Ministry of Trade is awarded. Honorable Speaker, let me start with Gulu District. There are 18 EMYOOGA SACCO with 285 verified groups that have been formed and registered in Gulu District. These SACCO have collectively raised initial deposit of 15,460,000. Honorable Speaker, the Microfinance Support Center has disbursed 560 million Uganda shillings in the accounts of the SACCOs, which money has never been given to the different association members by the time that we visited. Honorable Speaker, in Lamore District has two constituencies of Palabek County and Lamore County, with 34 SACCOs were formed and 665 associations were registered from the 11 sub-counties in the district. Each of the 34 EMYOOGA specific SACCOs categories received 30 million as seed capital, except the elected leaders constituency SACCO, who received 50 million per constituency per SACCO. In total, Lamore District local government received 1 billion and 60 million, as summarized below. I will not go to the detail. But also we have to note that in Lamore, at the time of the monitoring the program, 2 SACCOs were not yet formed, and the district officials were not cooperating with the honorable members as to why the SACCOs were not formed, and also as to where the money for the 2 SACCOs were paid. Honorable Speaker, allow me to go to Omoro District. Omoro District has 2 constituencies of Omoro and Toji, and 499 associations were formed and registered by Community Service Department. From the association, 24 EMYOOGA SACCOs were formed, 10 in Tochi and 14 in Omoro County. Out of the 19 EMYOOGA formed, only 10 were formed following the required guidelines, and 9 were not formed correctly according to the guideline put in place. Honorable Speaker, 8 failed to access the funding. Of the 8, 2 did not have the accounts ready at the time of disbursement. So 5 SACCOs received funding totaling to 150 million. In Omoro County, 11 SACCOs were received funding amounting to 330 million Uganda shillings. Honorable Speaker, in Gulu City has 2 constituencies, that is Gulu East, Laro Peche Division, and Gulu West, Badege, Layibe Division. A total of 439 groups from both divisions applied and got registered and validated as part of the process for accessing these funds. The city received a total of 1,120 million. That is 560 million per constituency. And this money was released on 26th of January, 2021. Only a total of 32,420,000 had been collected from members of these groups' beneficiaries as part of the requirements from the members' contribution. The rest of the members were hesitant to pay when they were expected to. And only 97 million has so far been released to the groups after over 8 months. We have to note that Uganda shilling 4 million has been released to someone whose identity has not been disclosed by the city commercial officer. The circumstances under which the money was released is not yet clear. And this individual who received the money does not belong to any SACCO group. Right Honorable Speaker, the members of parliament requested the police to investigate the matter and recover the 4 million Uganda shilling given out fraudulently. Right Honorable Speaker, let me go to Amuru district. Right Honorable Speaker, Amuru as a district has two constituencies of Kelak North and Kelak South. They also qualified for 36 EMYOOGA SACCO, excluding teacher SACCO as guided by the implementation modalities. In total, the district registered 650 associations to form up the EMYOOGA SACCO. Amuru received EMYOOGA Enterprise Fund worth Uganda shilling 900 million for 30 individuals channeled directly to their account with commercial bank. That is, but unfortunately, the money has not been accessed by the EMYOOGA groups, SACCOs. However, 6 EMYOOGA SACCOs of 36 association groups are yet to receive money due to technical error, as explained that it happened from Microfinance Support Center. I don't know, Speaker, in Padea district, the district received 1,120 million for the EMYOOGA project, except some 4 groups, 4 EMYOOGA groups. The elected leaders received their 50 million, while the other groups got their 30 million each, as the majority of the population were unaware of the operation of EMYOOGA guidelines issues. The issue raised include the long bureaucratic process in accessing the fund and charges on the administrative work. I don't know, Speaker, in Kitgum district, Kitgum has Kitgum municipality, Chua East and Chua West. The Kitgum district received 1.6 billion Uganda shilling on EMYOOGA program, and Kitgum municipality received about 540 million. It was discovered by the members that instead of 30 million going to the account, there were only 29 million reaching the accounts of the SACCOs. Honorable Speaker, in Agago district, Agago has 3 constituencies, that is Agago West, Agago North, and Agago County. 646 associations were mobilized across 26 local government under EMYOOGA, and 54 SACCOs were registered at constituency level, which received seed capital of 1 billion and 68 million. Each constituency received 560 million directly into respective SACCO's account. Today, on that day of monitoring, 18 SACCOs have disbursed loan worth 289.35 million, with saving totaling to about 100 million, 376. 246 EMYOOGA associations. Actually, Right Honorable Speaker, Agago district, we rank it the best in EMYOOGA implementation in Acholi sub-region. Right Honorable Speaker, in Nwaya district, Nwaya has 2 constituencies, that is Nwaya East and Nwaya County, which received EMYOOGA fund worth 1 billion. That is 440 million, of which were for SACCO from Nwaya East. The list obtained from Microfinance Support Center is hereby attached in our working document. A total of 32 SACCOs were successfully registered out of the 568 associations mobilized. And the 4 potential SACCOs have not yet satisfied the requirement, which comprises of local artists, the welders, the journalists, and the mechanics. And that means they have not yet got their certificate, and they have not even got the what? The money. Right Honorable Speaker, the last report was actually on Acholi sub-region people with disability, but fortunately you told me that they have a separate report, so I will not go into that. Right Honorable Speaker, we look at the achievement that we really saw on the ground. One, there is strong mobilization drives exhibited by both technical and political wing. And there was proactive technical team who were really self-driven and really on the ground. And the support from the media houses in disseminating the relevant and positive information. We also have the political will and support from the district and lower local government that we really saw on the ground. And the 7 associations or groups of specialized categories were registered and trained. And we also registered achievement in area of mobilization of community to participate in the program, and that was successfully done. And we also saw good working relationship between the district and the EMYOOGA stakeholders. And also we realized that there is training of SACCO members and the SACCO management operation, which was ongoing by Microfinance Support Center at the time that we visited. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the following are the observations that we saw on the ground, and members collected it from the different districts. One, there was lack of credible information. It was complicated by the fact that even the EMYOOGA task force at the district did not have sufficient information about the program. For some of the approved SACCOs, members were not aware of the preconditions for the funds, and their members thought it was a grant and not a revolving fund. We also observed that the program did not have implementation manual or comprehensive guideline that was given to them. In fact, what they saw to us was actually a draft. They still don't have the real guideline, and they told us it is changing on regular basis. Also, we observed that the delay by Microfinance Support Center to issue out the certificate, even to the approved SACCOs to access the funds, remain one of the last bottlenecks to take off. Because many of the SACCOs were not accessing money, they are still waiting for their certificate from the Microfinance Support Center. And we also observed that the members' expectation was too high. What they expected is not exactly what they're receiving. There was also no facilitation for implementation of the program. The promised facilitation was not delivered, and not clear responses were received by the district, and therefore some of them did not want even to monitor what was going on the ground. There was also poor coordination of stakeholders in implementation. Microfinance Support Center did not prove timely feedback to steer the program, and the status of unfunded SACCOs were worrying. Some people don't know why their money is not in the account. The explanation is that there is technical error from Microfinance Support Center, and they don't know what technical error the Microfinance Support Center is talking about. There was also delay to register the SACCOs and deliver certificates, and that was actually delaying the implementation of the program in the districts. The COVID-19 is one of the challenges that was on the ground, because members said they could not organize for the training, they could not even gather themselves together, as the numbers that is required is limited. Also, the government never covered for the administrative costs, like the office rent, the furniture, the stationery, transport, and bank charges. This have either led to extortion of money from the intended beneficiary or reduction of the would-be beneficiaries fund. For example, out of the 30 million that was supposed to go to account, some accounts had only 29 million that were in the account. We also realized that civil servants also suffer the challenges of inadequate funding to enable them sensitize, implement, and make the follow-up of the different SACCOs where they are located. There was also a lot of impersonation, forgery, and bad practices in registering the groups. For example, some groups registered as journalists, yet they were not, and they are not journalists. And they block the real beneficiaries who fall under this category. I don't know, Speaker, there is also a mismatch in the initial deposit meant to be paid by the beneficiaries. This has also been due to the poor empowerment in terms of knowledge and sensitization, hence leading to either extortion or undermining the real objective of the fund. I don't know, Speaker, some categories of the would-be beneficiaries find it hard to get these funds due to the initial deposit of certain ratio, which they cannot afford. For example, some people with disability groups have been forced to give up on these funds by the initial deposit factors. I don't know, Speaker, the process of getting the money by all members, groups, proved to be hectic due to the bureaucracy. The process has a lot of steps that are unmanageable by the very disadvantaged people who are in their businesses. There's also a lot of contradiction in the message about the EMYOOGA. And many people take it as a grant provided as a political reward by the President of the Republic of Uganda. Right, Honorable Speaker, we decided to give some recommendations that we think could help the government to improve. We said the Ministry of Finance and Microfinance Support Center should waive the 10% or the 1/3 requirement for groups to access the money, or harmonize, because the information is not straight. And we said the processes and requirements should be reviewed as a way of creating effectiveness in the implementation of this program. The long and the tedious processes discourage the community from taking these groups, a program, as a useful tool for poverty eradication. We also look at it that the Microfinance Support Center should revise the EMYOOGA policy guideline on disbursement to ensure that monies are disbursed directly into the group's account, as opposed to the SACCO, and then again the group struggle to get the money. So a lot of processes that are not clear. We also said that the leaders at the sub-county, the issues, the LT3 should be availed with the EMYOOGA project documents and the guidelines and the information for their easy follow-up. Furthermore, local government leaders should become more involved in the implementation of EMYOOGA, because they were complaining, the process started, they are not aware, some of them were not even sensitized, so they don't know what is going on. It is up-down instead of down-up approach. They complain about the payment of the allowances to the district team to enhance their training. And we realized this was giving problem because some district officials became corrupt to the extent that some people even don't know they are in the groups, but their names are there. So we are wondering how that came about. So it is better for the district people to be facilitated well. We say the circles should be given operational funds to run their day-to-day activities, or a better method of how those activities should be run should be provided by the government. We realized there is no proper training, so we recommended that there should be proper training of the SACCO members on financial literacy and record management. We also said each group has to use their own membership contribution to rent offices as one of the requirements to access the fund. Government should issue a clear guideline on regulation framework to guide the implementation with clear roles and responsibility for the stakeholders. And we said the guidelines should also have a clear provision of the role of both the technical and political leadership. We said there should be a budgetary provision for operation, monitoring, and supervision for both political and technical staff. We also said there should be additional funds to cater for categories that requires a lot more access capital. For example, many groups under produce buyers may need much more than the others. For example, also the borders, because we realize from the ground, the money is at 30 million. So performing artists can be only 5 people. They might not reach even 30 people, while they're in the circle, and the requirement is should be at least 30. Now that means the 30 million for the circle of border is the same 30 million for the performing artists who could be less than 30. We also say the loan repayment period need to be revised. 4 months is too short, considering the effect of COVID-19 on the businesses. It should be preferably to be given a period ranging from 1 year to 18 months, and loan repayment period will be better off if it is that way. Right, Honorable Speaker, we say the need for government to investigate why funds have remained for so long with the banks and with the Microfinance Support Center, and how much charges have been put on the money. Because as we spend about 6 months, there is monthly charges, there are some expenses, and we feel maybe the bank would have taken a lot of money from this money that is in the bank account. We also said that the Microfinance Support Center to open more regional offices to serve the nearby district. Right, Honorable Speaker, to your surprise, Acholi sub-region and Lango sub-region has only one Microfinance Support Center office, which is based in Lango, in Lira. So even the operation became a problem, how they can go to Agago, go to Amoro, Lamore. So we recommend that at least they should have office in Acholi sub-region. We also said that the government should plan to increase the seed capital since the communities have expressed much interest in the program. And I'm happy that I think government is working to bring this in the budget, next budget. We said that training of the form circles on financial literacy and group dynamic and relevant operational guidelines, I think this came before. Honorable Speaker, there's also need to strengthen the knowledge in accountability by the members of the groups and also tighten on the safeguards to ensure paying back of the funds that have been disbursed so as to enable other members benefit from the program. We realize that there is also need to cutting down or reducing on the bureaucracy involved in the whole process of accessing this fund by the beneficiaries, especially for people with disability. We thought that with people with disability, we should also reduce the interest, or there should be no interest for accessing the fund. Lastly, there is need to increase on the funds lent to the beneficiaries, given the fact that most of them are using this as opportunity to start their first business after they collapse, the businesses collapse during COVID-19. As such, the amount of money being given is not enough for the group or circuit for more than 20 or 30 members to share, and then each of them makes payment for rent, furniture in some cases. I don't know, Speaker, in our conclusion, this is the conclusion of the whole sub-region. We said we are grateful to the government of Uganda and specifically to the President of the Republic of Uganda and the private sector who have taken this program. The real motive and intention of the EMYOOGA program and related programs was and is a good one that can help transform the communities. However, it needed little or more planning and also more sensitization before reaching the final stage of its implementation. This would help address the question of bureaucracy, extortion, worries of recovery, administrative costs, and unfairness of the initial deposit, among others. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I hope I tried to meet the timeline.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Call. Members, we are going to have all the reports presented tomorrow. Then we'll get a report from the Minister of EMYOOGA tomorrow. We'll debate EMYOOGA tomorrow and come up with the conclusions tomorrow and finish EMYOOGA. I want to thank you so much for your patience. We adjourn the house to tomorrow at 2.